Good morning, everyone. How sweet it is. Welcome to the dining room table. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Until midday today, it's the Court of Public Opinion. Oh, yes. And Maria's called us first up straight away. Maria, just hang on the line there, will you? Hang on the line. It's Friday, October the 17th. I hope you're well. I hope it's going to be a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. We were sitting here at 9 o'clock, so funny, talking amongst ourselves without realising we weren't on the air.
It was a great conversation, Jeremy.
Yeah, it was very good.
Thanks, Windows, for the update that didn't work.
Let's send a cheerio to Les.
Oh, yes. Les, if you're listening, I don't know, he's heading either for Western Australia or he's in Western Australia, if you happen to be there already.
Well, I hope he's not walking.
No, he wouldn't be. He'd be in his BMW chugging along.
Really? He's driving over?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
He's a brave man. I did that once. It was really boring.
It's a long way. 0491 65 68 60. It is a packed program, I might tell you. We'll get to that in a short time. Hello, Maria.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we all?
Young, alive, and a lot of fun.
That's wonderful. Straight into it. The RAA's annual report. It's a not-for-profit organisation that is tax-free or has tax-free status.
Yeah.
And 12 of its executives, the CEO Reid, the CFO White, and the insurance CE Page increased their salaries by 46%.
I saw that, Maria, this morning, and I wasn't very happy.
No.
Feathering your own nest again.
Yeah, I'm not very happy either. And I would assume you are all members of the RAA.
No way, no one.
No, I don't want to. I hate them.
Most expensive place in the world to buy a car battery.
Are you kidding me?
I won't use them.
No, me either.
I wouldn't be without my membership.
They take ages to turn up, then they put shitty batteries in your car.
Gee,
Very expensive, shitty batteries.
We've obviously been dealing with completely different organisations here because that's not my experience.
You're a regular customer.
I've got
I've got a gold card.
I've got a close friend who's an ex-mechanic for the RAA, and he told me all sorts of secrets. I'll let one go. They give them about 5 to 10 minutes to fix a car. If not, they get a tow truck. Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
They don't know how to fix a car most often. Yeah. Nobody does.
Like
all cars are from outer space.
Well, all cars are
all new ones.
Too complicated. Yes, I'll go along with that.
So you'll end up on a tow truck every time.
Well, it's not good public relations, I must say, because the RAA would have to know that would get out. And, on the day when they are talking about the Bay to Birdwood, which they sponsor, the last thing in the world they want is to have this sort of thing going around. After all, I mean, you can give people an increase in salary, but I can't see how you could justify 40%.
It was a one-off increase in profit because they sold their insurance arm for $460 million or something.
Wow.
To Allianz, is it, Maria?
Yes, that's correct.
That was a one-off. You can't keep selling your assets just to boost your bottom line. You can only do that once. And that's why they got a pay rise, because he would have been foaming at the mouth. Oh, yeah, let's sell it. Big, fat, huge pay rise. Well, not good for the customers, though, because I think when they were locally owned and it was an actual insurance company, not just giving it to someone else, you would have gotten far better service. Mm-hmm. And locals are a bit more assistive when it comes to claiming.
So all they do now, Maria, is just have the road service, roadside service?
No, Jeremy, they still do the insurance. Service. They do the insurance, it's just they flicked it off to Allianz.
Yeah.
Well, when you say they still do the insurance, you mean they've got the naming rights?
It's branded as RAA, but it's really Allianz.
Well, what Allianz was doing was buying the goodwill and the name, the brand, the RAA.
You can book overseas holidays through the RAA now.
Well, they've got a travel agency.
They sell ice creams as well, I've heard.
Look, a better outcome would have been is to give back to the membership that's been there long term, like you, Jeremy, free membership for 2 years. The Fat Cats, 12 executives, honestly, how many executives do you need? Now, going on to something really, really important, Lydia Thorpe.
Oh, God.
Lydia. That was Groucho Marx, wasn't it?
Yeah. I want the
I love you, Lydia.
defunded of its taxpayers $2 billion, for not honouring their charter to be balanced in their reporting and not to be biased. In the last 2 years, why has the media been so soft on the PM, Albo, and his Labor-run CMFEU? Lydia threatened to burn down Parliament House, the People's House of Democracy.
Isn't that inciting violence for which she can be sent to jail?
Yep.
Yes.
Why did she get away with it then?
Yes, they've been so quiet. I'm in support of the 2,000 people that work in Parliament House. They should be safe. And the threats, it has to be taken seriously. Words have consequences. Hate has consequences. Inflaming people has consequences. As soon as those words were said at that pro-Palestinian rally in Melbourne, with the crowd's support cheering, which is so sad, they're just like sheep. All access to Parliament should have been cancelled from her. She should have been reported to the AFP and Home Affairs, and at the moment, until she is charged and expelled from the House, she must be watched 24/7 by the AFP, even when she goes to the toilet. Look, no uproar by Labor, not a peep, crickets, the same as the Greens. It just shows you that they don't care about Australian safety. Very quiet on the issue, hasn't upheld his promise that he would be different, he would be honest, he would be open, he would be transparent and protecting us.
Well, Albo's definitely fairly transparent. Mind you, he's never here.
Yeah, that's right. He's always on holiday.
He's on holidays now.
Yeah. Now, not calling this dangerous threat out, it warrants a immediate return to Australia from his holidays. I remember the uproar about Morrison taking holidays. Don't have an issue about holidays, but when you're threatening the People's House, it warrants an immediate return to Australia. The bullying and the harassment that Morrison received for years, what a double standard. And the same as the example for the mass migration march here. You know, it was reported that they were all neo-Nazis, the same as the Queensland MP. Don't say that, he said, or I'll punch you. The attacks went on for weeks on him. Recently, a man was charged using a carrier service to say that he would kill, but two Sydney nurses that are using the same carrier service, the charges were dropped. Truly, I am sick and tired of this government, Albo and Wong stupidly pandering to the extremists. Look, honestly...
Well, darling, they got elected. They got re-elected with an increased majority, a thumping majority of 90 seats or something. So, you know, you just have to blame the Australian people, I'm afraid.
With 33% of the vote too.
Hardly a majority, but yeah.
Only 33, and because of our stupid preference deals, that's why he got in. Yep. Albo didn't end the war. He went on holidays while the leaders of peace are on the world stage. Possibly he wasn't invited to the adult talks, but he could have sat on the kiddie table, not going to holidays.
Well, when is he due to meet with President Trump? When's that coming up?
Monday, I think.
Monday?
Next week, I think.
Albo turns up at all these things because he's lining himself up for his next job because he knows Penny Wong's going to knock him off.
Yeah.
Well, she can't. She's in the wrong house to do that.
She'll get there, believe me.
Yeah. That will make it happen, you know.
No.
All doing and throwing and, you know, all like they say.
She lurks around behind him like she's a shadow.
Well, I think she's been in charge behind the scenes anyway, because why was she on the stage when he actually had his speech? When
You're
he
absolutely
won?
correct, Maria.
You know, she shouldn't have been there.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Elbow shadow.
Yeah. Oh, look.
Well, they are two peas in a pod. They come from the same left faction.
Yeah.
So you'd understand they would see eye to eye.
But I don't.
The girl's on a mission, believe me.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Don't want the left taking over what we had. We were the lucky country.
Mm-hmm.
We had.
Well, sometimes you've got to lose it in order to appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think we should have Maria for president.
Maria for president.
Maria could bring back the stocks.
Yes, definitely. And all the rotten tomatoes and eggs.
That's a waste of tomatoes.
And I think we just need to call it the
it
Common
is.
Sense Party. Very simple.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday was the anniversary, 81 years it was since the birth of the Liberal Party, 81 years. So that would have meant that it was the last year of the war, wouldn't it? Yeah, 44.
A lot of things die in their 80s.
Yeah, well, Menzies, he was the, what do they call it, the United Australia Party? The United Australia Party, out of which grew the Liberals. So, the Liberals may have to find some sort of renaissance, some sort of rebirth for themselves.
Pull up their socks and call themselves the centre-right.
Well,
If they call themselves conservatives, everyone thinks they're a bunch of fuddy-duddies.
Yeah.
The younger ones would go for a title like the centre-right.
Yeah.
Because it's right down the middle of the corridor.
Well, how do you do that when you sort of have this broad church? It's so broad.
By definition, the centre-right is a broad church.
Yeah, well...
It's sensible people who are balanced.
Well, who has the sway? Who has the right to sort of set the course for the Liberal Party?
I'd give it to Maria.
And if they don't have... Yes. I'll give it to Maria as well.
Sea of heartbreak, lots of love and loneliness, memories of your caress, so divine. How I wish that you were mine again, my dear. I'm on a sea of tears, sea of heartbreak, lots of love and loneliness, memories of your caress, so divine. How I wish that you were mine again, my dear. I'm on a sea of tears, sea of heartbreak, heartbreak, sea of heartbreak, sea of heartbreak.
Give us a ring if you'd like to, 0491 65 68 60. That's the best damn theme in the world, isn't it? And that's the best version of it too. Who does that? Is that Al Caiola? Al Caiola, yes. Al Caiola was a guitarist, as I remember. Dr. John Bruni's going to join us at about 9:30. There's enough happening in the world to keep him going for at least half an hour. And longer. We love Dr. John Bruni. Caleb Bond gave me a call the other night, and he said, I'm in town. And I said, wow, how long are you in town for? And he said, till Sunday. So I said, come in, sit at the dining room table and join us in the court of public opinion.
No!
Yeah. What do you mean, no? What do you mean, no?
Should not have given him that thing. It's a toy.
Let me have a look.
Should explain what that is to the public.
Well, it's a red button. This is for people who just don't know how to say no, I take it. So you don't actually have to open your mouth and say no. All you have to do is to press. N-O.
It's for parents, actually.
No. For parents?
It is,
It's
indeed.
for the boss when you ask for a pay rise.
You carry it to the supermarket checkout when the kids want to buy all the lollies.
Okay, now, Caleb on around 10 o'clock. Arman Gore, he is the head of Legal Policy and Advocacy. What a title. That would look good on a business card, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I can sort that for him.
Head of Legal Policy and Advocacy with the Electric Vehicle Council. They have said that they are advising, and apparently they've got the clout to advise government and speak on the subject of electric cars. They are saying that they do not want cars, internal combustion engine cars, petrol and diesel vehicles registered after 2035. Now, that I take it that means that we who love our old cars, we can keep our old cars, but it's just a small stumble to the point where they ban them.
I will make a prediction.
Yeah.
And the prediction is in as little as between 5 and 10 years' time, we'll have to go and buy fuel. Those of us who love internal combustion cars, will have to go and buy fuel at the likes of, say, I'll pull that something out of the air, a hardware shop, and it'll be in a can. Now, if you go back to the beginning of time when motor cars were first put on the road, you would always buy fuel in a tin can. I've got half a dozen of them in my shed.
Usually a square one, if I remember my Biggles days.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And they'd carry spares on the running boards of vintage cars.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen very, very quickly, far more quickly than we imagine.
Anyway, Arman Gore will have a lot to say on the subject of electric cars, and so will we. Adam Creighton from the Institute of Public Affairs will join us at about 10:30. The head of Museum Marketing and Major Events. Wow. This is Paul Rees. He's with the... he's not actually with RAA. He is with the Bay to Birdwood. Well... the History Museum took over the Birdwood Museum, as I remember it.
That's correct. The government took it over after it was in financial difficulties, actually. Yeah, and the History Trust, actually, to be correct,
the
took it
History
over.
Trust. Yeah. Anyway, Paul
and they
Rees.
turned it into an Australiana museum, and everyone who had anything decent in the museum, including myself, I had 2 cars there at the time, we all removed them.
Yeah.
And they were left with a whole bunch of FC Holdens and trucks and rubbish, really. I've got a gold card for that museum for life. Yeah? I have. Good. And I wouldn't even bother going up there anymore.
Oh, well, don't say that in front of Paul, for God's sake.
I shouldn't say it, but I will.
No. And Peter Nicholson, your mate, Peter Nicholson, the author of that fantastic book that is there behind me.
Peter Nicholson is a brilliant man. Yeah. Let's look forward to hearing from him this morning.
Very creative.
Very, very creative man.
Dr. John Bruni soon. Who we got there? Hello? Hello?
Oh, Jeremy.
Yes, who's that?
It's Jeremy. It's Leighton.
Oh, Linton, how are you?
Leighton.
Leighton over in the Philippines.
Leighton, late of Tokyo and presently of the Philippines.
Kalimasta, Nihongo.
Correct, Sir Jeremy. And I'm very sorry that we've got a very bad delay here on the phone, so I'll have to probably...
Going through a tunnel in Shinkansen.
Bullet train. Yep.
Well, don't talk over the poor man. Come on, give him a go. Oh. Leighton, have your say.
No! Good morning to the gentlemen, and I will just say that because there is a delay in the phone here, every time I finish my sentence, I better say over. So from now, I'll just say over, and you just want to know how you are.
Well, very well, very well. And you and the family?
Oh, well, me, my wife and I, we are very good. The family's still down in Adelaide. They're not going to live with us. They've got their own places to look at, etc. But The reason I rang, Jeremy, is, as you know, I'm a bit of a statistics man with weather and everything else, including earthquakes. Would you believe that, in actual fact, the Philippines have far more earthquakes than Japan does?
Oh, interesting.
Japan has plenty.
Yes, well, I've been taking records whilst I'm up here, and so far this month, and this was only up until the day before yesterday, the Philippines had already recorded 3,280 earthquakes for the month.
God.
Sounds like a good place to live.
And they call New Zealand the Shaky Isles.
Well, I mean, I came from the land of the rising sun to the land of the shaking earth, I think. Yes. I did try thinking you last week, but I was having all sorts of problems.
Yeah, I think we're fighting a losing battle here, Leighton.
Yeah. No worries. You enjoy the day. I'll listen in as much as I can, and I'll talk to you again down the track.
God bless you, Leighton. Thank you.
Oh, baby, something tells me something's gonna happen to you. The smile on my face is the smile you will wear in a moment or two. So get it together, you see, it's gonna be alright. 'Cause something tells me something's gonna happen tonight. Oh, baby, something tells me something's gonna happen to you. The smile on my face is the smile you will wear in a moment or two. So get it together, you see, it's gonna be alright.
Dr. John Bruni's arrived. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm fine. Caroline just brought me something in from the Australian newspaper, which is an interesting article in their Nation section about Whitlam and the loans affair, going back to Kemlani.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Caritas, who was involved. In fact, I think it says here, Jerry Caritas, an Adelaide businessman, introduced Kemlani to Connor, that's Rex Connor,
Yep.
and Whitlam via Minister Clyde Cameron. Kemlani wanted an upfront $100 million commission, which was resisted by public servants.
They've all got their hand in the till.
Well, we were scammed. I mean, we were just set up with that.
Yeah, we were.
But
yeah.
but Whitlam just kind of literally walked into it. I can't imagine a man of his reputation, his intellectual reputation.
Financially speaking, he was as sharp as a bowling ball.
I said, boy.
Sharp as a bowling ball.
Yeah.
He was just tall and blustery.
Dr. John, what do you make of the 2-hour conversation that Trump has had with Putin overnight?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there was a lot of bro-festing happening over the lines, you know. Oh, Vladimir, why are you doing this? It's so terrible. Why don't you end the war, Vladimir? End the war. Because there's a war that he wants to end. You know, Trump has now successfully finished 7 wars. 8 now with Gaza.
I've heard him say that.
And it's
Allegedly.
amazing. Well, allegedly. but it's an amazing peacekeeping effort, and yet no one recognises him with a Nobel Prize.
There's always next year.
There's always next year.
That's because the Norwegians actually have lots of je ne sais quoi and a brain.
Yeah. Although I did hear something, Gary, about the fact that the Norwegians were a little bit worried about how Trump would react, and they were thinking that perhaps they'd get slapped with umpteen sanctions, you know,
He's
as a
just
consequence.
a bully.
Of Trump.
You front bullies.
Yeah, well, of course you do. Oh, you absolutely do. But, you know, yeah, you can't run your foreign policy like this.
Has it got anything to do with the Ukraine wanting Tomahawk missiles from America?
Yes, but there's something far deeper at stake here. You know, there's a lot of bad news stories with regard to Ukraine, and I would say that Russia's continual bombardment of Ukraine's energy grid as we enter winter is not a good look for Putin, and certainly not a good look for Trump, who wants to act as the broker and the peacemaker and everything else. But I think that Trump is starting to, I don't know how this sticks in his mind, though. He's starting to see Vladimir Putin slightly differently from, prior to the Alaska summit. Now I think there is a little bit of doubt in the back of his mind whether or not this guy is actually the friend that he thought he was. Because if he was a friend, Jeremy, if he was a friend.
Professor is beginning to work out that Trump is that Putin is laughing at him.
Yeah, I think that's probably a problem, and it's a problem for Putin now because, of course, he depended on the Americans under Trump to at least stay neutral in all of this. He didn't want to escalate or get the Americans to send their top line cruise missiles across. But the idea that they may be on the table is something that probably worries Putin because, the Ukrainians have been doing a lot of interesting things in spite of the fact that they are on the back foot in this war and always have been. They've been attacking Russian oil and gas facilities in Western Russia. Now, for most people, you would think, oh, well, so what? That's just another target set, right? But it's much more important than that. For years, since the so-called special military operation was launched against Ukraine in February 2022, oh, God, hang on a sec.
Have a sip.
Oh, that's better. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I share Caroline's predisposition to hay fever, so I think that's the problem. Anyway, we were saying, what we were saying before I so rudely interrupted myself. Something about... Yeah. The war fighting capacities. So Ukraine, while Russia has been terror bombing the Ukrainian cities, civilian casualties is no big deal for Vladimir Putin because he wants to, again, using the bully tactic, he wants to smash into Ukraine. Yeah. They are the smaller party. That's it. The Ukrainians have now decided they've got enough drones and they're about to put online this thing called the Flamingo cruise missile, which is a domestically produced cruise missile with a 1-ton warhead.
So they're going to make their own?
They are making their own, yeah. So these missiles, once they are operational, they're not fully operational yet. Some have been allegedly flown into Russia for testing. But the thing is that the drones have done such a good job in shutting down about 40% of Russia's oil capacities, which means that, that's what I was saying earlier, Putin has tried to protect the two cities from his special military operations, the two cities that are the most important cities in Russia, St. Petersburg and Moscow. So he didn't want to dip into the well of manpower in those two cities because that's where the wealth lies in Russia. So most of the recruits that he's been able to tempt into the front lines in Ukraine, they all come from the boondoggles in Russia. They're the poor, they're the dispossessed, they're the ones desperate for any kind of work. And of course, the contract checks are pretty significant. If you happen to be a poor guy from the countryside, then you think, oh, well, if I put the uniform on for maybe, a term or two, I'll get a few $1,000 that I can send back to the family. Everything's going to be fine.
Mind you, you'll die in the process.
Well, we don't talk about those kind of things. But that's what's going on. That's what's going on in the mindset. But the fact of the matter is, now
it's a get out of prison ticket there.
It is. It very much is. But now the problem is for Putin that 40% of his oil and gas is now down. Oil is a key commodity that he exports to places like China and India. If he can't export that stuff in quantities, it's going to be a problem for his economy because, there was an old saying, not that old, but, relatively old, that Russia was basically a fuel station with nuclear weapons. So you take the fuel away from Russia, you ruin its economy. People are now queuing up in Moscow and in St. Petersburg because they can't get petrol and diesel for their vehicles. Mm-hmm. That is a problem because now the special military operation, I have to keep on saying that because it's not a war, a special military operation is now coming home to roost in St. Petersburg and Moscow. Now, this sets up the potential for political problems that Putin will have to deal with. Now, up until this point in time, he's defenestrated a lot of the opposition that he thought he had. Yeah. That means pushing them out the window, right? Okay. So they're dead. But the more that Russian people get angered at the fact that they can't have a normal life, they can't just go to the service station, put some fuel in the vehicle and take off, That's
going to happen here soon.
Yeah, well, that's true. But that has a major effect on the politics of Vladimir Putin. If his people are not happy in the wealthiest two cities, that then starts triggering thought processes among Putin's inner circle, wondering whether or not this special military operation was worth it in the end.
Yeah. Well, has he got popular support for the war?
That's a difficult one to.
No one's going to say.
Well, no one's
But there was a big demonstration the other day. He had a lot of people on the streets
They're all in jail
demonstrating
now.
against him.
Yeah, well, there is there was an organised opposition when they had Alexander Navalny, but since Navalny's death, the opposition had taken a hit. It's now starting to come back in bits and pieces. Whether it congeals, they need to have a leader for it to congeal into something meaningful. And the only way that that's going to happen in the Russian system is when two or more oligarchs decide to abandon ship and give some hope to the Russian people that there is life after Putin.
Isn't it strange? You've got Trump, who today it was announced that John Bolton, one of Trump's, he was a mate to begin with, and then they had a falling out.
Deadly enemy now.
Deadly enemy. Well, he has now been arrested.
Yep.
So quite blatantly,
Yep.
Trump is arresting and putting on trial his enemies or his
Pals.
Former.
Pals.
former pals. And then on the other side of the equation, you've got Putin, who will literally kill, have assassinated anyone who looks like being a problem politically or publicly.
And Putin, Trump looks at Putin with great admiration. He wants to be Putin in America.
So those two approaches to democracy. Well, what is happening to the world? You've got people who, if you don't do it my way, it's the highway.
Sorry.
Trump has at one point mentioned publicly that, and asked the question of the Americans, would you like a dictator?
That's right. We observers, especially the media, took
Penny
that as
Wong will be next.
Yeah, well, we all thought that he was kidding, because Trump's got a great sense of humour. So, people think it's charming. So he has these.
That, do you?
Oh, I don't look. I've had this debate now going on for the last week.
I think he's boring as batshit.
Well, there are a lot of people who think on the left that he's trying to turn America into a fascist state. But the one thing that people have to understand...
I'm on the right, and I would agree with that.
Well, I would say no, because there is a major disconnect between old fascism and what we're seeing right now. Old fascism was completely and utterly dangerous, because they did stuff. They mobilized national resources to have things done in the most efficient and clinical way possible, whether it was in corporatist Italy or Spain or in eugenics Germany. They harbored, whatever they could of state power and threw it at problems, and they did stuff. They disrupted the system in massive ways. The Americans under Trump, they may have these illusions of wanting to be like that, but they are not fascist, not in any way, shape or form, not like the old fascists.
No.
So whatever they're doing some sort of...
But Trump is.
Trump is more of a Putin-esque leader. Now, what I'm saying, Putin has a particular form of autocracy that looks very much like the mafia capo and then all his lieutenants. Hitler didn't run Germany like that, and Mussolini didn't run Italy like that. But Trump is running America like that increasingly, and so you can start seeing Trump is capo to capo.
That Hitler didn't put all of his mates into power?
Hitler put his mates into power. Hitler also purged his inner circle ever so often when he thought that
Trump's
people... not the same way.
I reckon Trump sleeps with a copy of Mein Kampf under his pillow.
Well, what about...
Actually, I'll just take you up on that because I
have
think...
an argument.
Yeah, well, it's not an argument. It's just it's a point of difference that I think needs to be raised here. Now, there is a generational issue in the United States now, and I was listening to a podcast this morning before I got here. The Rest is Politics US edition, and it's actually quite good with Scaramucci and Catty Kay. And they were having a discussion about the young MAGA supporters. Now, if you want to see some sort of historical parallel, and again, you can't match like for like. Then, 1930s Germany is not the same as today's America. There are echoes, but they're not the same. Different things are motivating.
Well, they can't be.
No, they can't be. But many people make those kind of assumptions. They layer it upon that, and they make these simplistic notions about this and that.
I think
that's
Hitler-like. I'm not suggesting he's a parallel.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, Hitler-like is also a genocidal maniac, and Trump, for all his faults, and believe me, he's got plenty of them, I don't think he's going to be opening up gas chambers anytime soon.
Well, with those,
Jeremy, just so I can finish the thought bubble here, the generational gap in MAGA, on the other hand, are openly racist, have on their Twitter feeds said quite openly that we ought to get rid of the Jews. Not only that we should open up gas chambers. So there is a resonant value in the new generation of MAGA supporters that are starting to harbour elements that might turn America a certain direction if they are given free rein. Now, whether Trump gives them free rein, that's another question. That's for history to decide.
But of all those...
I would predict that America will move towards another civil war.
Well, one could say that the seeds of that civil war are already happening as we speak because...
Hence my comment.
Trump has rolled in the National Guard against Democrat cities.
Trump is blowing people out of the water who are moving from Mexico to California without any democratic questions, answers, anything like that. America's not at war with Mexico. To me, that is a crime.
Well,
hang on.
US Constitution...
Those people could have been cooking pancakes with that white powder.
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
What possibly justifies blowing people out of the water? He's done it 3 times now, and then putting it on TV for us all to watch. It's right up there with shooting people in Israel.
Well, it's also a waste of
Gaza.
It's also a waste of proper military munitions, which are very expensive. Because
more importantly, it's a waste of life.
Well, yes.
How many people are on board each of those boats?
At least 15, maybe 20.
And of course, now all the fish in the ocean are high.
We're gonna have a movie called Cocaine Shark soon.
Interesting that it's the day in 1933 that Albert Einstein was granted
citizenship.
Well, he came to America as a refugee from Hitler.
Yeah.
And if that hadn't happened, the Americans would not have had the bomb, would probably not have won the war, and Hitler would probably have had the bomb.
Yeah. Is he the bloke whose apple fell on his head and you just
No.
I'm confused, am I? Sorry about that, Jeremy.
That's what happens when apples fall on your head too often.
That's exactly right. I'm glad I'm in such esoteric company.
But looking at that sort of cohort of dictators in Europe in the 30s and 40s, how was it that Franco... they all came to a sticky end, but Franco went on ruling Spain as a fascist dictator.
Correct.
Called a fascist dictator. And people seem to get on fairly well with him. I don't know if he ever had elections or he was popularly...
He was great at making pizza.
Really?
Well,
Spanish pizza?
Possibly paella.
Yeah, paella.
Oh, well, that would sound better. But how did he survive the odium, the criticism, the angst of the world for all of those years and remain a fascist dictator ruling over Spain?
Well, that's an interesting question. And I think the answer really resides in the fact that Franco knew his limits. Mussolini, on the other hand, didn't really understand his limits, and Italy was in no capacity to fight as an ally of Germany in World War II. But in his head, he thought that he had, the new Rome at his disposal. And, of course, when it was tested, it all failed quite spectacularly. But Franco always understood that his survival was going to be based on non-interference. I'll send a volunteer brigade, I think it was called the Blue Division, for Germany's Operation Barbarossa, but that's really the extent of it. I'm not going to actually full-throatedly go into World War II because that'll be the end of me. And I think that Franco's survival survival skills were far, far higher than Mussolini's were. Now, if Mussolini had gone down Franco's route, we would be talking about a completely different planet right now. You know, you would be looking at an imperial Italy that, you know, probably would have lasted as long as the Franco experiment. You may have gotten a democratic Italy at the end of it, but
El Duce sort of saw the world differently.
He saw the world differently, indeed he did. And he saw Italy very differently.
And he ended up hanging from a lamppost.
Yes, he did.
Mussolini. It's a shame, really.
They hung him by his feet.
He drove a really beautiful Alfa Romeo.
Did he?
He did.
I trust you to find a bright side.
I know. I just keep this conversation as positive as I can. I've got a feeling that car is in the Schlupf Museum. I reckon I've seen it.
Wow.
That gorgeous thing, early Alphas.
What, Caroline?
The square he was hung in
Yes.
is the best gelati shop in the
See,
whole
there you go.
wide
The
world.
best gelati shop in the whole wide
Lady
world.
Caroline's very positive too.
Caroline, could you bring me the dates? I think I left them outside. I don't want to do them from memory. So you got these two interesting characters, Putin and Trump.
Yeah.
Which one do you think has the longevity, the ability to outlast the other?
Definitely not Trump.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. You know, at the moment, he has done enough damage to the US judiciary. He's changing the nature of American politics to support himself, not the Constitution. And it's really weird. Even the American military is split down the middle now because there's this debate going on. What do you give your loyalty to? I always thought it was the US Constitution if you were in uniform. It's a little bit more complicated than that because it is the US Constitution for flag officers, but of course in the preamble of the oath, it also says to the Commander-in-Chief. But I suppose the implication is that the Commander-in-Chief is also serving the Constitution.
Whoops.
But what happens if the Commander-in-Chief is his own source of power and doesn't serve the Constitution? No American has gotten back to me with well, this is what happens under those circumstances, John. So the Americans are in a bit of a dilemma politically, yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, how did the Australian wedge-tail reconnaissance plane find itself over there on duty, watching over Ukraine? How did that happen?
Oh, you know, we've got friends in Europe who probably said a couple of things to us, a couple of nice things to us. You know, Albo will probably take those things to heart. And he doesn't want... I think that this is a case of both a little bit of subtle American pressure, but not that much because America is not what it used to be. But I think certainly diplomatic outreach to Australia from the EU and from individual NATO states may have actually sealed the deal. And I think maybe even Albo sensed an opportunity to be seen to be involved in an existential conflict on the side of the good guys.
Well, should we be involved in something so remote to us?
Well, that really depends on what your view of national interests are. I always think that if you really do believe in democracy and you really do believe in people's rights and freedoms, they will always be up for grabs and challenged by autocracies of one stripe or another. What do we do under those circumstances? Do we say, to hell with them all and let's just, retreat behind Fortress Australia? We're so far away, we don't need to have... That's one argument. The other argument is, well, if we do that and then other people say, well, that's a good idea, Australia, let's all do that, then who's going to be standing up to people like Putin? That's the other. And look, in our neck of the woods, we've got a person like Putin. He's called Xi Jinping and he runs China. Mm-hmm. So if we do it with Putin, at what point will defeatists, isolationists here in Australia make a similar claim about China? It's all too difficult. It's too hard. Let's not do anything about that at all. That will then breed a crisis of internal confidence that we can't and won't do anything to promote a national interest that we believe is really important to us overseas under any circumstance.
Zelensky's meeting with Trump tomorrow. Yep. We haven't got a date for the meeting with Putin, but that's apparently set down for Budapest.
Yep.
Now, how is that going to work out? When Putin says, you give Ukraine the Tomahawk missiles, that is a red line, because he knows that I don't know much about the Tomahawk, apart from the fact they cost $1 million each. But they have some advantage over other missiles in that you can change direction and you can do all sorts of things with them. He says that you give them the missiles, you are escalating the war.
Yep.
And that is a red line.
Well, we've been down that path a number of times before with Putin. He's given us a number of red lines. You give Ukraine modern tanks, that's a red line, we'll use nukes. You give F-16s, that's a red line, we're going to use nukes. At every point, these red lines seem to be crossed by the West quite easily, and Putin is powerless to do anything because really the only thing that he can bring to the table is nuclear weapons. But remember, nuclear weapons are the weapons of last resort. They're the weapons of ultimate survival. Russia isn't being invaded by Ukraine here. Now, it would be different if all of NATO came together, inclusive of the United States, and ran into Moscow. You know, that's a fight for survival. Then you could probably make a case that, okay, Vladimir, there's the button, push it, right? Because Russia and your regime is at stake. But this is not that kind of war. This is a war that was created by Putin for Putin and his idea of the world. Is he prepared to nuke a non-nuclear country with the prospect that other countries that do have nuclear weapons in the West decide to retaliate against Russia?
Yeah. The other interesting anniversary, talking of nuclear weapons, it's the anniversary of the day that Ukraine agreed to give up its nuclear weapons in exchange for I don't know what you'd call it, a guarantee of
sovereignty.
Sovereignty,
Yep.
security.
Yep. The old Budapest Memorandum, 1994, I believe it was. And the thing is that those people who are pro-Russian will always sit back and say, but, you know, what about the Minsk agreements? What about this? What about that? The Minsk agreements were nothing in comparison to the one singular agreement that Russia decided to walk away from, and that was the Budapest Memorandum that guaranteed, and he was a signatory, Putin was a signatory, no other Russian leader. No. Putin was a signatory to that guarantee of Ukrainian sovereignty.
Who else signed that? The Americans
the
signed
Americans,
it.
the French, the Germans. I mean, it was a proper international agreement.
And it turned out to be not worth the paper it was written on.
No. Because, of course, leading up to the war, Putin believed that Kyiv was particularly vulnerable to graft corruption, political incompetence and inefficiency. He thought that Ukraine would just be a walk in a park. And that really explains the way he tried to invade in 2022. He was so dissing on Ukraine and its ability to resist that he thought the war would be over in four days, maximum 4 days. It would just be a blitzkrieg, Kyiv would be captured, everything would be fine. But that wasn't the case.
It's interesting, isn't it, how many people, generals, presidents, kings, consider that a war is going to be won in a matter of days. I think the Civil War, whoever it was, Grant, Ulysses S. Grant, whoever was on the other side, Robert E. Lee, I guess it was. They thought it would be over in a week.
All people who start wars think that they will be able to finish it up very, very quickly. But as we can see in Ukraine, as we can see in Gaza, that's not the case.
Now, what do you make of this strange story about the federal government doing a deal with the company responsible for China's Belt and Road operations? They have taken charge of several of the net zero projects undertaken by the government. Now, that has to be a considerable breach of security. And I don't know where the media is on that, and I don't know where the Liberal Party is on that. But, you're either going to say that the federal Labor government is stupid or it's traitorous.
Or that they've just understood the one key thing about Australia into the future, and that is if the Americans aren't going to be charging over the Pacific to save our bacon, we better make nice with the Chinese. And so what we do is very subtle. What we do are stories like what you've just said, but we're not going to make them into a headline. They'll be on the public record for those people who dig deep enough to find them. But ultimately, Australia's fate now is tied to China in ways that I feel very uncomfortable with. But the Albanese government, and dare I say, And again, look, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because I think that if the Liberal Party were wise enough to choose someone like Hastie as their leader, perhaps things might change. And I say perhaps and might deliberately, because again, power has a funny thing. You can be out of power, wanting power in the political system. And as you climb the slippery slope and you become Prime Minister, all of a sudden things are different. And you tend to repeat the mistake of the previous administration, the previous political administration. There is a sense of continuity between one government and another, because when you achieve the top post, you can't be that disruptive anymore. It's expected that you behave, and you're no longer campaigning. You won, okay, now you're Prime Minister, and do what the Australian oligarchs want from you. If they want trade with China, you do trade with China. You don't go against them, because they will ultimately fund the Liberal Party moving forward, or the Labor Party for that matter, because they've got their own set of oligarchs that they depend on for funding. So in that sense, this is maybe the reality that we're going to all have to get used to, whether we like it or not. And I, for one, as an Australian, I do not like it.
Yeah.
And I can't understand why we just let this thing happen. No protesting on the streets. We don't know what our national interest is. We don't promote discussions about the national interest, except for in rarefied circles where they're all elite opinions anyway, and they don't reflect the public mood at all.
Yeah. It seems strange, though, that the Chinese would be in charge of these, from the government's point of view, these very important targets, these net zero targets, when they certainly aren't back there in China setting targets and heading for net zero.
Yeah, well, I
wonder why.
They're creating our green revolution through dirty fossil fuel industries, which I find rather deliciously ironic.
Dr. John Bruni.
You're listening to the Court of Public Opinion with Jeremy Cordeaux, where the time is 10 a.m. Australian Central Standard Time.
Hey, what's the weather for the weekend gonna be? Will it be hot, cold, rain, snow?
And the weather today in Adelaide, it will be a partly cloudy day.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by, brought to you on, brought to you by
Certainly are, RADIO, ladies and gentlemen. 0491 65 68 60. Dr. John Bruni is still with us at the dining room table. So is Gary, so is Tony, so is Caroline. Caleb Bond is running about 10 minutes late. We've got to put a call into Arman Gore. He is, as I said, the head of Legal Policy and Advocacy with the Electric Vehicle Council. Can you stay for a while?
Half an hour, and then I have to go. But
Yep. Well, you just sort of wave goodbye when you...
All right, yeah.
Had enough of the dining room table, ladies and gentlemen. While we're getting Arman Gore up on the phone, October 17, happy birthday if you're having a birthday. Thomas Edison files a patent for the optical phonograph, which was the first movie machine. Golly, that man must have been clever. 1888, October the 17th. Arman, have we got you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How are you, sir?
I'm well, and how are you?
Very good. Welcome to the dining room table.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm fascinated by the council, this EV council. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So we are Australia's largest peak national organisation for electric vehicle industry. We represent Australia's growing EV industry across manufacturers and the supply chain through to retailers and many other companies who are taking part in this growing industry. And we have been around for about 10 years. We've helped to advocate for policy reforms that have seen more electric cars and trucks come to Australia.
Right. Now, why are you so in favour of EVs? What drives you personally?
Yeah. There are three reasons, really. First of all, Australians can cut their cost of transport significantly by getting into an electric car as opposed to a petrol car. They can save thousands of dollars on the cost of petrol and the cost of maintenance. The second one is about our national security and our environment. So by not importing oil and being reliant on fuel imports and instead powering our economy on the Australian sun, we make ourselves more resilient to international supply chain shocks such as the pandemic. And thirdly, as we know, changes here. It's happening. We see it in the cost of our premiums going up every year. We see it in the way the seasons are changing and our lifestyles are having to change. So we do need to adapt to that. Best ways to reduce the impact of climate change is getting into an electric car which doesn't put carbon dioxide into the air.
Well, what's wrong with carbon dioxide, by the way?
Yeah, of course. So carbon dioxide, when it goes up into the air, it basically traps the warmth from the Earth, and therefore it means that the Earth is getting warmer in a way that causes more severe weather events. So,
but can you prove?
Yes.
Can you prove that?
Well, I would rely. I myself am not a scientist. I did a law degree and an economics degree at university, but I never got past year 12 chemistry. What I would do, though, is always rely on people who have international training and have the pedigree to talk about climate science, and the International Committee on Science around the world in terms of the UN and other independent scientists have spoken about this. And so I would trust them on that basis.
Well, I was only taking the line from the bloke who started Greenpeace. In fact, he would have been the first greenie, I think, going back. And he said that he regards the whole thing about carbon dioxide, which is something like 0.04% of the atmosphere, and it really is plant food. He describes it as plant food. And he says, well, you know, if the left or if the advocates for green energy, if they had evidence that CO2 was in any way a problem, they would present it and win the argument. But there is no, and like you, I'm not a scientist. That, you know, he advocates simply for informing people with the truth, and then they can make up their own mind.
Yes, of course. And I think when we look at the way that experts present evidence, we have to consider the seniority and the credentials that they have. I mentioned to you that the IPCC, the international body on climate science, has put forward this view. Now, the person you're referring to, I'm not sure what their scientific credentials. I would probably choose to put my confidence, much like when I go to the doctor, in experts who are credentialed and have done the necessary research and training. Much as we may disagree on whether carbon dioxide is causing these issues or not, I think what we do know is that the cost of driving an electric car is significantly less than driving petrol. And I think,
Gary says it's nonsense. Why is it nonsense?
I challenge what you've just said. It's total nonsense.
Please go on.
Because electric cars now are a joke. You try and get a used car dealer to buy one of those things, they won't touch them with a 40-foot pole. Electric cars were very popular in New York at the turn of last century, mainly because they were a tiller drive at the time, and women could drive them without having to crank start. They all fell in a heap for the same reason they'll fall in a heap now. It's batteries.
Well, is it also a problem in terms of an organisation like yours? You have to sort of restore or create confidence in the whole thing, and I feel you're going to have an uphill battle.
There is no financial advantage in buying an electric car. A, they're very expensive.
Insurance is double.
B, the government supports it because they want the tax. C, the local governments want it because they want the transfer fees. And D, the government wants the public to borrow more money. And most cars, I think something like 78, or it's even higher than that actually, are leased these days. And so people think they're getting something cheap. No, they're not. They're doing their dough. The amount of energy that's consumed in manufacturing electric cars is horrendous.
And I would imagine Australian coal, they're all coming from China. I imagine Australian coal figures quite prominently in their manufacture.
I very, very proudly drive a 1966 Austin.
Oh.
And that car runs like a clock.
Yeah.
It's still in perfect condition. And I think to myself, if I was into recycling, I'd keep on doing what I'm doing.
Actually, interesting, a lot of European manufacturers are now winding back their electric car design and manufacture because they're not making any money on it.
It's all about the batteries.
I think Porsche and maybe Volkswagen, a couple of them were...
You can't invent a perpetual motion machine. I asked the question with electricity charges going through the roof currently, what's going to happen when everyone plugs in?
Well, you know what people forget is when they charge up in a shopping centre, they charge probably close to $1 a kilowatt hour.
A lot of people are going for electric cars because most people are bowerbirds. They like something new. They like something different.
Gadgets.
And there's a thank you, right. Professor. There's a cohort that will grab anything going past that's new.
Well, are you, Arman, are you winning the argument, or how do you sort of see the state of play at the moment?
I love hearing these comments. I'm going to provide some facts around the growth of electric cars, and we have put out a report about 2 days ago which said that there's been significant growth in the Australian purchase VVs. They now represent 12% of new vehicle sales, and there's been a 25% increase in that market share. So as much as some of your friends on this conversation may not agree, what we're seeing is Australians are cutting their cost of transport by up to $3,000. Now, I'll provide you some anecdotal evidence that, people who drive rideshare cars, why do they choose to drive electric cars? Because they can make more money in their back pocket by not spending money on petrol.
That's nonsense. I
go
back to the comments I previously made. There's a cohort of people who'll jump on anything going past.
No, Gary, let him have his say.
Of course, thank you very much. I've let other people have their say and listen politely, so I'll finish my comments. It's no wonder that rideshare drivers are taking up electric cars, because these are the people who drive 30, 40,000 kilometres a year, and by getting an electric car and not having to buy petrol at the Bowser every time, they are saving and they are making money in their own hip pocket. So I guess I'm going to rely on international climate science, and I'm going to rely on people who do a lot of driving when it comes to both cars that are better for the hip pocket and less damaging when it comes to the effect of driving a motor vehicle.
Dr. John, what do you say?
Well, look, there are a couple of things that I'd like this young man to answer, because I understand and I empathise with what you're saying. In a perfect world, I think that's fine. We don't live in that world. We live in a world that we have to make multiple compromises on. The one thing that I will say is that from a practical perspective, I've got a mate of mine who's a crash repairer. So we had this discussion about electric vehicles, and I said, well, so what do you think about electric vehicles? I've got an open mind about that, And he turns around and says, no one in the industry wants to touch them because of the specialist knowledge and care that we need to take with the toxic material that we're dealing with in the crash repair sphere. So they're a completely different vehicle to maintain, or try to repair, and that's a problem. Then, from an ecological standpoint, yes, I get what you're saying. Once the car has been built, there may very well be some environmental savings. But has anyone done a complete audit on how you get the rare earths and various metals that you need to build the batteries of those vehicles? Those batteries are not recyclable. What do you do once those batteries run out? What hole do you put those used batteries in, and what sort of toxicities get leached back into the ecosystem as a consequence of that? And even digging that stuff up in places that are, third world, to say the least. They don't have great environmental standards. Children are involved. Many of them end up with all sorts of diseases and problems, physical problems as a consequence of this, let alone the ecological damage that we're allowing to dig this stuff up from virgin territory. So, if you can say that this is a completely clean industry from cradle to grave, I will tip my hat to you, sir, but I don't think that that's the case.
Can I have a chance at responding?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm finished.
Yeah, thank you. So let me take a few of those points. When it comes to the recycling of EV batteries, there's actually a whole supply chain we can build out in Australia so that we bring out critical minerals from our country. We go up the supply chain and we manufacture batteries. And at the end of their life, they can be repurposed as either home batteries or, once again, as EV batteries in a recycled form. And then we can also have a battery recycling industry in Australia. What I present to you is that there's an opportunity here for Australia, rather than just importing petrol and diesel and making ourselves so reliant, as was reported in the AFR yesterday, only 50 days of petrol in Australia right now. Instead, we can have the minerals that we dig out of our soil, we can go up the supply chain and create Australian jobs in battery manufacturing and recycling, and we can cut the cost of transport. It's really that simple.
Yeah, but these cars are made in China and they've got to be transported all the way from China to Australia.
So then if you look at the counterfactual there, we obviously have no domestic car manufacturing industry. So even if you're bringing in a petrol or an ICE vehicle, it's still coming in from overseas.
Yeah.
And I would push back on the other point, which is that the EV industry doesn't just come only from China. We're seeing incredible growth in Australia. There is now over 150 models of EVs available, from hatchbacks to sedans to utes. Some of the most popular ones are in the ute category in the last 12 months.
Do you drive one? Do you drive one, Arman?
Yes, I do.
What do you drive?
As per our, I guess, my role as a council, I'm not allowed to say, but I do drive an EV, and it's a fantastic experience.
Okay. Why is it, when you think that Australia's contribution to global emissions is 1%, does it really matter what we do? Why would we be bothered turning everything upside down and incurring the expenses and even taking the risk? I mean, you might be absolutely right. Other people might be right as well. But why risk it when there is no point to it?
I think you have to look at the effect of not doing something. So whether we agree on climate science or not, we do know that the Earth is changing before our eyes. We experience the effect of that.
Always has, always will.
So the Insurance Council of Australia put out a report recently that said that Australia has experienced the second highest insurance effects of climate change after the United States of America. That's due to our geography. We are experiencing more severe weather events, which are causing, insurance premiums to rise everywhere for all everyday products. Now, in that counterfactual, we have to be thinking about, we may only create 1% of carbon emissions, but we are feeling the costs of climate change very significantly, as the ICA has pointed out. But that's the business case.
But you can't be serious when we are exporting coal and gas merrily to other people in the world who use it to their advantage. Cheap power is a huge national advantage for any country. It's so schizophrenic, this whole argument. I mean, if we were serious, we would not be digging up coal and selling it to China and India, would we?
So state and federal governments have successfully reduced Australia's reliance on coal. We are also increasing our reliance on the Australian sun. The amount of renewables in our energy system has increased significantly in the last 15 years. Yeah. And this process doesn't happen overnight. Obviously, it takes time, because the last thing you want to do is make an abrupt shift, which undermines our local industry. I think it has to be a transition.
Do we have a local industry?
No, we don't have a local. We're a farm and a mine. Last I looked.
Well, I don't know. I mean, have you ever looked at the Lima Declaration? Do you know what that was?
No, please tell me.
Well, it's a little complicated to tell you, but Gough Whitlam and Rex Connor, I think it was, RFX Connor, went to Lima to sign a United Nations declaration. It was 1975, early 1975, and if you Google what can you tell me about the Lima Declaration, you'll get quite a fright. The Labor government of the day, in cahoots with the trade union movement, signed away Australian industry in favour of third world countries. An act of terrible, terrible treachery, which I cannot understand the trade union movement wanting to be part of. But we're sort of doing the same kind of thing. We're looking at this energy problem and failing to understand that it is global, and we are very small players in a very big picture, and doesn't much matter what we do.
I would, I guess, tenor of this conversation is that I'm disagreeing with this because I think there's a lot that we can do and there's a lot of upside for Australians, frankly, in helping to make the transition. As I mentioned, you said there's no Australian industry, and I put to you that if we do make the transition to be a country that has EV manufacturing and recycling, we actually create jobs in Australia. We currently have no jobs in the local automotive sector, such as manufacturing, but an EV industry in Australia can support moving up the supply chain from not just digging out critical minerals, which geopolitically is very crucial, but we can go into battery manufacturing and recycling and create domestic jobs. So, yeah, you said there's no manufacturing in Australia. I think there is, but we can even have more of it, and we can actually have really good, well-paid jobs in Australia.
I know, but so much of the stuff that we have in this country is manufactured in China, and the reason it's manufactured in China is that they have cheap energy. We are now heading towards the most expensive energy in the world. We used to have the cheapest. Now we have the most expensive, and we have to thank the Labor Party policy on energy for that.
It's the price we pay. And the thing is that it's only going to get worse because those people who are always making a big case about green energy forget that they say, well, we've got all these great, solar power schemes and so on and so forth. And yet, why is our power so goddamn expensive? They say that it's because of the grid. The grid is old. We need to replace the grid. It's got nothing to do with the 21st century green environmentally friendly technology we've got. And it's like, well, I mean, how do you distribute this power when you've got these 21st century green nodes that can't distribute the electricity to the punter out in the community in a way that makes sense to them? We just have to sit back and watch the prices rise. The more people use the electricity grid through EVs and other technologies of that nature, the more strain and stress is going to be put on the national grid. How do you get over that? If you can convince me that we can get over that, then great.
Can I present?
Can
I present you something?
Yep.
So there's a technology called vehicle-to-grid technology, which basically utilizes the fact that EVs are batteries on wheels because a EV is 5 times the size of a home battery, right? So vehicle-to-grid technology is the idea that when you're not using the energy in your car, you can put it back into your house and you can also put it back into the grid. Now, this has 2 benefits. Recently in Australia, we've seen a lot of severe weather events, and there have been multiple reports of when these events have occurred, Australians with EVs and vehicle-to-grid technology have been able to keep their houses powered for several days, even though their neighbours did not have energy. And they were able to help their neighbours get through these tough weather events. That's the first thing I want to say. You can make yourself more resilient to energy shocks through vehicle-to-grid technology and EVs. The second point I'll make is you can also make money through vehicle-to-grid. So at the moment, there are energy retailers like Amber, which offer tariffs where if you put energy back into the grid, you can make money. And we have done modelling to demonstrate that that can be several thousands of dollars per year. So I would challenge your point that you're actually straining the grid with an EV, unlike the blackouts that may be occurring because coal generators are becoming unreliable. With an EV, not only can you create resilience for your community and your family, but you can actually make money as well.
Now, Caleb Bonds just walked in, sitting down at the dining room table.
Good to be here.
Have you got an electric car?
No, I don't have. It'll surprise you to know, Jeremy, that I don't drive an electric car. But I would like to know, Arman, what concentration do you expect Australia would or should reach in terms of use of electric vehicles as a percentage of the market?
Yeah, so we have the 2035 climate emissions targets, which are to reduce Australia's national emissions by up to 70% by 2035. That significantly relies on the uptake of EVs because...
Well, it's predicated on basically every vehicle sold as of the day that report was released being an electric vehicle, right?
So what that report is predicated on is the slow and steady uptake of EVs in order to hit our targets. Now, that means that between now and 2035, 50% of cars that are bought should be electric. Now, that's because transport emissions are 1/5 of our national emissions and will soon become our biggest sector. So we do need to decarbonise transport, and that's why we need to see more electric cars.
But how many EVs are sold as a percentage today?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, in the first 6 months of this year compared to the first 6 months of last year, EV sales are 12% of the market.
And they say it has to be 50 in order to meet the emissions target.
There's been quite a significant increase. So if you look at our report, you'll see that in 2021, EVs were roughly 4% of new vehicle sales. This year, they're 12%. That's a fourfold increase in a market that's flat on year growth. So you've got the ICE industry, which is flat on growth, and the EV industry, which has gone 4 times in just 3 years.
Arman,
So I think that's the case.
if it all makes so much sense, why is it that you're calling on the government to legislate that cars registered after 2035 all have... In other words, you can't go out and buy a new internal combustion ute or a truck or a vehicle of any kind. It has to be electric. If it was such a good idea, why would you have to legislate it?
So the reason is quite simple. We know by 2035, we need to be really off petrol and diesel. And just in the way that we try to protect people from doing things that are bad for themselves and their community, we're arguing that really we should have a ban on the registration of petrol and diesel cars bought after 2035 because they're bad for people's hip pockets and they're bad for their community and they're bad for the country. That's the reason.
But should it not be up to the market to decide? I'm from memory trying to remember which European country. I think it was Germany, where they removed the subsidies they were providing for the purchase of an electric vehicle and consequently saw a significant decrease in people buying electric vehicles. In the UK now, they essentially punish the consumer for not buying an EV by putting penalties on the distributor, the seller of the vehicle, if it happens to be over a certain number of whatever their quota is for internal combustion engines. And so what the salespeople in the UK have done is to artificially squeeze the market, i.e. reduce the number of cars they're bringing into the country to sell because the quota they're given for EVs is not what people want to buy. So if they sell, say your quota's 1,000 internal combustion engines, well, they're making sure that they only ever sell 1,000 cars because that's what people want to buy. So if you're trying to squeeze the market and people don't really want to buy the product, are you convincing them that it's something they ought to have?
So you mentioned like the market, right? And I think I have a professional training in economics, so let me tell you a little bit about the concept of externalities. The externality concept is one where you can buy something at a market price, but that does not adjust for the fact that you have a cost to other people. This is known as a problem which is solved by bringing the cost of your action into the market price. That's essentially what the market price for petrol cars does not currently involved. So a practical example of this is as follows. When you burn a litre of petrol in Australia right now through a car, the taxman takes 51 cents to try and fix the damage of that burning of petrol through the particles that are put up in the air and create health pollution and create respiratory issues with people and cause excess deaths.
Well, it's also meant to fund roads to some degree, right? And electric vehicles are heavier vehicles, which therefore, presumably causes more road damage.
Let me just finish the first point. The burning of petrol causes twice as much damage in terms of the carbon dioxide in the air as well as excess deaths than what the taxman gets to actually fix that problem. So we're not actually addressing how much damage petrol and diesel are doing in the process of burning them in Australia. So that's called an externality, and that's what the market does not include when it prices a petrol car. Your second point about cars being heavier, well, you will find that these days a lot of people are bringing in cars, these massive cars that are over 3.5 tons, these Ram Dodgers. Not only do they not pay the luxury car tax, but they are so heavy they do heaps of damage to our local roads. They aren't even taxed properly. So if we're going to talk about taxation of heavy vehicles, I think really we should be looking at these massive petrol and diesel cars that are brought in from America and don't even pay the correct tax.
Look, I don't disagree necessarily that they're quite large, but presumably a vehicle like that consumes more petrol anyway. So you're paying your share of tax because you use more petrol.
You're not, because as I mentioned, like you may be consuming 20 litres of petrol, but the damage you're doing is far greater. As I said, you only pay 50 cents roughly for every litre of petrol, but economists have rounded out the actual cost of that burning of litre of petrol to be double the cost. So no, they're not paying what you would call the market price because of the externalities they're imposing on you, me, and other people.
So if you left the market to operate by itself without government intervention, what percentage of the market do you think would end up being EVs in Australia?
I think that really is a very interesting question. I think it comes down to exposing people to the real costs of their action. I think one of the conceits we have in modern economics is that of a rational consumer. Often our choices are determined by the information that's presented towards us. So we know that people, when they're, for example, under stress, will make bad health choices for themselves and for their family. It's similar when it comes to this type of product, when it comes to cars. We know that if you limit the range of options available to people, they end up sometimes making a wrong choice for themselves. And in Australia, we haven't had access to electric cars because there was never a legislative model for manufacturers to be encouraged to bring in electric cars. We now have that, and we have over 150 models of electric cars. And what we've seen is a steep increase in electric car uptake. So I think the idea of like a free market economics is a little bit unrealistic and completely quite distant from the way everyday people go about their lives.
Okay. I don't know what the issue is with letting people make their own decisions. I mean, look, sure, you think they're making the wrong decision, but they don't think they're making the wrong decision. I mean, I suppose it's predicated on whether or not you think there ought to be government intervention to force people to do something. You think there should be. I think there shouldn't be. I suppose that's an ideological point on which neither of us want to move.
I wouldn't say it's as fine as that, because what I'm actually saying is that when people were given the options to buy electric cars in the last 4 years in Australia, we saw a fourfold increase in sales while there's been a flat petrol and car market. So I guess the point I was making is that the market is somewhat of a construct. When you give people a choice that they are informed about, they do make a choice in this case, which has been to slowly and at a good rate move towards electric cars. That's the point I'm making.
Arman, you've given us a lot of your valuable time, and I thank you for that.
You sound like it was lovely speaking to you.
Great to have you on the show. Thank you. I hope we have access to you again.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All the best. Arman Gore. He is head of, it's a wonderful title actually, head of Legal Policy and Advocacy with the Electric Vehicle Council. I didn't know we had an electric vehicle council.
Oh, well, every interest group has a council these days, don't they?
But who pays them? I mean, how do they...
the industry.
The industry does?
Yes.
I don't know.
Sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me.
The whole electric car thing is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
What occurs to me, though, is that everything we buy, everything in the supermarket, apart from it coming from China, really, with a few consumable exceptions, everything is delivered by a diesel truck.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it can't be a coincidence. I don't know that these huge trucks that go around distributing the goods upon which we depend, I don't know that they can ever be electric.
Well, they do have electric trucks going around now. I'm not sure how much they're used in Australia, but they do exist. And, I don't have an issue with the concept of an electric vehicle, but just let the consumer decide. If they want to buy an electric vehicle, go for your life.
Well, if you strip away the subsidies and the support that the industry has given for ideological reasons, they would be cost-wise prohibitive.
Well, the chairman of Toyota said, I think it was last year, that his prediction is electric vehicles will only ever make up a third of the market.
That's right.
And this is a guy who is chairman of one of the biggest car manufacturers in the world. So if anyone ought to know what's going on, it's him.
Yeah.
And you've got to consider it's fine in a country like Australia where we have readily available energy. But there are large parts of the world where they don't. And the only thing they can use to get around is an internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
Actually, the real cars that are taking off, Caleb, are the hybrids.
Hybrids, yes.
You get into an Uber and 99% of them are all not electric, hybrids. And that's actually quite efficient.
Nobody asked the question, what are we going to do with diesel trains, goods trains? They're over a kilometre long going past
But
my
also
place regularly.
the big semis that go between...
battery-operated trains?
Yeah, well, semi-trailers between Adelaide and Sydney? I don't think so.
The gentleman was talking about cars tearing up roads. Hello? Hasn't he ever gone behind some of the trucks that go down Portrush Road on a daily basis, tearing the place up?
Oh, dear.
Really?
If you have to run, John, we quite understand.
Yeah. Well, thanks, gentlemen. It was a really great conversation.
Thanks for coming in. Dr. John Bruni, ladies and gentlemen. I totally agree. Adam Creighton is a marvellous man. I mean, he is a very bright individual. I did have all his degrees written down, but I left them outside. The folder was too big to hang around at the dining room table. From the Institute of Public Affairs, and Caleb Bond, you know him well.
I do indeed. He's a good fella, Adam.
Adam, are you there?
Yes, gosh, with Caleb too. What a bonus.
Well, that's exactly what I reckon. Exactly. We've just been having a slight argument about electric cars. I don't know if you know about this Electric Vehicle Council, do you?
I don't, but I do know that the electric car targets worldwide are collapsing. In fact, there was a piece in the Wall Street Journal this week just about that. So they're not going to happen here either.
Isn't it interesting how they will interpret? I mean, I better be careful what I say. Interpret or misinterpret things to suit their argument.
Yes.
He was saying to us that the market was fantastic and people were buying them hand over fist, and it's nothing, no concern. I'm just interested that if everything was so rosy in the electric vehicle garden, why they have to legislate to see to it that we bloody well buy one.
Yeah. Well, look, no jurisdiction in the world is more pro EVs than California, and I remember as correspondent in the US last year writing a story that even with all of the hype there and the subsidies in California, they've started falling as a share of new purchases, which is very bad news. Because I think in California it's quite amazing. I think something like 20% of new cars sold are electric, which is a lot, certainly a lot more than here. But that percentage has started to fall, which basically cannot happen if the state's going to reach its target. And, we are far lower than that. I don't know what our percentage is. I don't know, maybe Caleb knows, but it's in the single digits, probably low.
I think Arman before was saying, the last numbers we've reached 12% or something. But that's not a concentration of what's on the road. That's just sales in a particular month.
That's right. People get new sales and the stock of cars very confused. The stock of cars is what they need to change to meet their emissions targets. They have to actually get rid of combustion engine cars. So not only does it have to be all new sales EVs, but the stock of existing cars has to be removed. So that's obviously not happening. So the targets are not going to be met.
The bit I love the most is the conversation we had before. He's saying how wonderful EVs are, and people are loving them, and they're buying them in increasing numbers. But we also need to get the government to regulate the market to force you to buy the EV.
Yeah. Now, and we have to subsidise them.
Exactly. So if it was so great, people would just be buying them off their own bat, wouldn't they?
Yeah, the funny thing about EV subsidies, I think it's worth mentioning, and this is a good point that Andrew Hastie made, I think, last week, is that if you go back to the subsidies we used to pay Ford and Holden to manufacture here, it worked out about $3,000-4,000 a car. Well, that is now far. So the level of subsidies now that we provide for basically Chinese EVs is greater than $3,000 or $4,000 a car. And, of course, they're not even manufactured here. So we've gone from subsidising our own cars to subsidising Chinese cars.
Yeah, it seems like lunacy to me, but how come it is treated and given the time of day? Why these people aren't kind of laughed out of the room is beyond me. Because, after all, it doesn't matter what we do with 1% of global emissions. We are responsible for 1%. It doesn't matter what we do. We don't have to turn our lives and our economy upside down to achieve what?
No. Look, and in my column last week, I basically suggested that lots of the people that come across as climate zealots, I don't think they actually believe it. I think it's just for career reasons or for virtue signalling. I mean, for instance, if we're so concerned about emissions, why do we export all these fossil fuels to other countries? We should not do it. We should not do it. Right?
Exactly. It's schizophrenic. It's hypocritical, schizophrenic. And, Professor Plimer says that there is absolutely no evidence that CO2 is a problem anyway, and if there was evidence, these people would be shouting that evidence from the tallest tree.
Yes, there's not. I mean, all the fear mongering is based on mathematical models, right, which have a very bad track record. If you actually look at the data, yes, there has been warming, and yes, it has accelerated very slightly in the past 20 years, but there are other explanations for that, which could be equally plausible, such as, look, I'm not a scientist, but there's, Earth rotation issues, there's solar issues, there's all sorts of things. There's oceans, which have a huge effect on climate. And we don't know it's human induced. I mean, it probably is a little bit. I mean, it's my view, but I think to ascribe it all to us is a bit naive and a bit hubristic.
Well, Adam, water vapours are far worse greenhouse gas than CO2. Yeah. So why aren't we clamping down on water vapour?
Yes, it is. It's all part of it. And actually, I have another funny thing I found too because I wrote this column last week saying the nations that are most obsessed with net zero, the UK being one, Denmark another, and I suppose you could say Australia too. They are also the most pro-war, I would say, in terms of supporting Ukraine. But if you're pro-war, then you're basically pro-massive emissions. So the Russia-Ukraine war has basically sent 300 million tonnes of carbon into the atmosphere, which is equivalent to a number of small countries. And so if you're pro that war going on, then you are therefore pro hundreds of millions more tonnes going into the atmosphere.
They're not consistent, are they? They're not consistent.
So what you're saying, Adam, is that Donald Trump is even more of a climate warrior than Al Gore.
Yes. That's right, actually. That's very good. He's probably reduced emissions more.
What was your column about today in The Australian?
I did something on, what did I do? The citizenship test. A friend sent me the practice Australian citizenship test, and I did that a few nights ago, and it was incredibly easy. It was ridiculously easy, I thought. 20 questions, 45 minutes. It's multiple choice, 3 options, not 4 for each question, so pretty easy. And then I thought, oh, look, I'll have a go at the British one. So I loaded up some British practice tests, and they're provided by lots of companies. And it was extremely hard. I almost failed. So I encourage your listeners to go and have a go. It's quite fun, actually. The questions are much, much harder. Like there's ones like, did farming start in the UK 8,000 years ago or 6,000 years ago? There's another one about habeas corpus. Was it, 1679, 1685 or 1693? And I got that one wrong. And then there's other ones like, who composed the planets? Was it Holst or was it Elgar? So, I mean, if you know classical music, you know the answer to that. But, I mean, for the average person, these are not easy questions. So it's hard. And then I thought, gosh, why is ours so bloody easy? It's a bit embarrassing. And then I just had a column on saying citizenship in Australia doesn't really mean a great deal for foreigners. It's really about permanent residency, not citizenship, because citizenship really only gives you the right to vote, and most people don't really care about that. So therefore, citizenship itself is not so valuable. And so, that kind of reflects the fact that the test is kind of pathetic. But, then I looked up the pass rate of our tests, and I was kind of horrified, 65%. So even though I just said it was incredibly easy, 35% of people don't pass it on a first attempt.
And we get them in right away.
Well, if you're Tony Burke, you sign them all up before the federal election.
Well,
yes, that's right. Look, I think Pauline Hanson's on the money with her letter about those. I mean, why are we taking in hundreds or thousands of these people? It's very stupid.
It's been said, not by me, but it's been said that people come to Australia for 2 reasons. Social welfare, that's the first one. And the big one is they're said to be Labor voters in general.
Well, that is true ultimately, I'm sure. I mean, people do change their vote. I mean, we've seen in the US, right, we've seen big shifts amongst the Hispanics from the Democrats to Republicans in recent years, and same amongst Black Americans, big shifts. So these things can change, but I've got no doubt in the short term, that most immigrants vote Labor, and it's sad, but I suspect, and of course there's no proof of this, but I do suspect that what Jacinta Price said a few weeks ago is more or less true. You've got huge numbers of Indians coming into the country, and I think it's quite understandable. I mean, it's it's a great country. It's much nicer than India, but lots of them. Well, I think it was the Labor pollster, Cos Samara, said 80%.
Yes, Redbridge. Yeah, it was
vote Labor.
They did the survey and they pointed it out, so there was great validity in what she said.
Yeah, I know there was, but isn't it sad that look, we don't have proof that that's the case, but if there ever were proof, I would suggest that is basically treasonous, to be honest, bringing people in for their voting intentions.
Absolutely. Adam, just going back to something you were talking about previously, have you got a comment to make about the number of cameras that are installed inside electric cars? I'm told they're up to 5 on the inside of the car.
Well, I had no idea that the cameras on the inside. The only thing I do know about these EVs, you're talking about EVs, is that apparently they can be blown up from China.
Yes.
Which is not very reassuring.
Well, it's one way to go, isn't it? I mean, you could get hit by a bus, or Xi Jinping could detonate you.
Why do we need five cameras inside of a car?
Well, I don't know. Well, maybe that's part of the the Chinese infiltration as well. But
exactly.
Well, if you're talking about Chinese, Adam, if you're talking about Chinese infiltration, did you see that story this morning that inexplicably we have somehow managed to employ Chinese built, and the company that is responsible for the design and the promotion of the Belt and Road, they've been given all of these contracts with net zero projects in Australia. Why would we do that?
Well, look, I mean, I don't really know. Sorry, is this the EV rules? Sorry, I just had to answer something there. Sorry, just remind me of the question. Sorry, Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, the idea of this Chinese company that is responsible for Belton Road, they trip around the world and they help people with their Belton Road projects. We have somehow managed to hire this company to look after these net zero projects.
Well, China, I mean, we say that we're a renewable energy superpower. The only renewable energy superpower is China, because they've got the rest of the world, buying all of their panels, wind turbines, and also using their intellectual know-how through these companies to install them, because, we just can't do it. I mean, I think it's so funny, just to slightly change the topic. You had that offshore wind project in Victoria fell over finally. I think just this week it was announced it was going to be huge. But, and people think, offshore wind, that sounds so nice. But no wonder they fall over. I mean, when you think about what's actually proposed, you have to import. I mean, I assume on ships, huge ships, you have to import these turbines from China, which are almost, I might add, almost the height of Centrepoint Tower in Sydney. They are very, very big, and then you've got to fasten them to the bottom of the ocean, and then they only work 30% of the time, and then you've got to bring that power through the water to cities hundreds of kilometres away, and then in 20 years the turbines all have to be replaced. And then people wonder why that's not economic. I mean, that's just insane, right? It's just nuts.
It's interesting that in Denmark, which was the second last country in the world to sign up for nuclear power, we're the last, they're pulling all the windmills, as I call them, out. And, of course, they're all offshore in Denmark. They haven't got enough room to put them on land.
Yes, well, people don't factor in the replacement costs. I don't think even our CSIRO reports that you compare different energy factor in that in 20 years they've got to be replaced. And my understanding is the ones in the ocean decay a lot faster than the ones on land for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. But some of these ones that were installed 10 years ago, I mean, they're coming up to replacement. And also by the time, let's assume we even get halfway to net zero, which I don't, but, by the time we get to 2040, 2045, we're going to have to replace the entire stock of solar panels and turbines because they'll all be too old.
You've given us a lot of your time, and I know you've got another appointment, so I'll thank you, Adam, very much for coming on the program.
No, that's fine. Always good to chat.
All the best.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, Caleb.
See you,
guys.
Adam Creighton, ladies and gentlemen, Chief Economist with the Institute of Public Affairs. Very knowledgeable character, isn't he?
He is. It's funny the talk about the cameras in the EVs, right? So obviously we're concerned about China and what they could do in terms of monitoring. And the former security advisor to Malcolm Turnbull, when he was Prime Minister, spoke recently at an event held by the Financial Review, and he warned that these Chinese vehicles are essentially just spy tools.
That's exactly what they are.
And you can be monitored. He said anyone who is a government official should not get in one, let alone drive one. He said that they could, as was Adam mentioned before, could potentially be detonated remotely, or they could be tuned to say slow down. So if you wanted to wreak havoc on a city, they could remotely decide that the fastest all these cars can go is 20 kilometres an hour.
You're
and
absolutely
just
correct.
bring the place to
very
a
true.
stop.
Yes.
But it's not just China we need to worry about, because Tesla... And some of the Tesla vehicles are manufactured in China, but obviously their staff who monitor the technological stuff are all based in the US mostly. There was a case a few years ago where Tesla staff were accessing cameras on Tesla vehicles and saving videos, including in one case a bloke who went out to his car stark naked. And they had collected the video and were sharing them around in group chats.
Oh,
at the Tesla office. And when all this came out, people were going, what? They're watching me on this camera.
Not to mention what people get up to at the drive-in.
Well, it's a cross between Big Brother and a Trojan horse, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, if the Chinese wanted to know, or anyone else apparently, wanted to know what we eat and how we live, all you do is put a camera in a car.
And the thing is as well, we give up so much data voluntarily these days. I mean, you go to the supermarket and you scan whatever your deal club thing is, and they only do that because they want to know everything that you do. The mobile phone now, I mean, if I hold my iPhone here and say electric vehicle, you can be sure that when I use it later, there will be an ad for an electric vehicle come up. We're constantly monitored. It doesn't matter what you do, you can't avoid it.
We're not paranoid, are we?
No, not at all.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away.
Indeed. Who needs it? Nobody needs it as much as I need it now.
Stunt man.
Yeah. Caleb Bond is with us. Gary is here. Caroline's here. Tony is here. But Les is somewhere between Adelaide and Western Australia. And I don't know if he's...
in an electric vehicle, Jeremy?
No, he would never do that.
Yeah, what happens when one stops in the middle of the Nullarbor? At least with a petrol car, you can hitch a ride and come back with a can of juice.
You better hope that someone's put a charging point in.
Well, here's an interesting one. The Auditor General's report, tabled in Parliament on this Tuesday just gone by, has found that the South Australian Hydrogen Office, I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Oh, why wouldn't there be, Jeremy?
But then I didn't know that there was a EV council, but there you go. The Hydrogen Office. Now, the Hydrogen Office, it was dissolved in May very quietly. How you dissolve
blow
an
up,
office,
did it?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Pleased to hear that.
They spent over $285 million in 3 years to achieve nothing, absolutely nothing. Labor was gambling and lost, but they were using our money to gamble. A hydrogen fantasy. I don't know. I don't think it would probably worry them too much, but God, it must be embarrassing that a government would spend $285 million.
Jeremy, they have no shame.
$285 million
Governments have no shame.
They had allocated $593 million to build a hydrogen plant in Whyalla. Now, that was back in May 2022, and that was about delivering a pre-election promise that they would have a hydrogen production, and that would have been about the Whyalla, to replace the Whyalla steelworks,
and of course
suppose.
that all fell over. But see, hydrogen, the Prime Minister, as early as, as recent as May, was still jumping up and down saying, hydrogen, green hydrogen is going to be a big market for us and we're going to be the world leaders and all this business. But find me a green hydrogen project that has succeeded.
Yep.
Because Whyalla fell over, and there are various reasons for that, but Whyalla fell over. Twiggy Forest, of course, was all gung-ho about it, and that's all fallen over. Projects in the US keep falling over. There doesn't seem to be any market for green hydrogen at all.
Well, who was it? Goebbels said, basically, Hitler's propaganda guy. He said, all you got to do is to keep telling the same lie over and over and over again, and eventually it's going to be believed. Who's ringing us? Who's ringing us? Is that Les?
It was. I didn't ring there.
Les, are you there?
We're getting low on credit. I'm just trying to... They've changed their app.
It was very embarrassing the other day.
It wouldn't let me recharge, so I had to download a new app. Then I had to remember the password. And I don't think it's still recharged, so we're a bit low on credit.
And then there is a nasty little, well, not a nasty voice, but a helpful voice that says, you have just run out of credit on your telephone, which is very embarrassing.
We were down to $4.60, and I'm not sure...
Well, you've heard of a low-budget program.
This is a no-budget program.
This is a no-budget program.
It's because he keeps giving his staff pay rises.
Well, this is right.
Jeremy, it's because you've spent all the budget on providing the TV biscuits on the table.
Well, it's just and also a glass of wine after 11 o'clock.
I might have to avail myself of a TV biscuit.
Oh, indeed. Well, you normally have something better than the TV biscuit. We've got other stuff there. Tim Tams.
I think we've been ripped off. I just did a $25 recharge, and it still says we're $4.60.
Oh.
Well, they took our money and ran.
Where's the ombudsman
So we better
when
be
you need
careful.
Where's Leon Barner?
He never turns up.
Well, there is that problem. Leon doesn't turn up.
Got something special coming around 11:30.
Coming around at 11:30? Okay, all right, I'll wait for that. I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere.
And you were supposed to ring John.
Yes, I'm supposed to ring John. Yes. We'll get John. He's one of our regular listeners, Caleb. How's everything going at the station?
Very well. I'm still employed, so I'll take that as a bonus. As you know, in this business, it's you don't know from one day to the next. But as long as you're upright and in a job, I think you're doing well.
You're enjoying Sydney?
Yeah, I am. It's an expensive city to live in, I have to tell you. But it is a beautiful city. I mean, because you were born and bred in Sydney, so you know what I'm talking about. But it's nice coming back to Adelaide because Adelaide feels like home.
Yes.
But when you look at the harbour and the bridge and the Opera House, you go, geez, there are people all over the world who would kill for a view like that.
But perhaps 1% or less than 1% of the population of Sydney would actually be beneficiaries.
Well, that's true. Thankfully, I'm one of them. But
so where are you living? Don't tell me in the toaster.
No, I'm not in the toaster. I'm at Balmain.
Oh, that's nice. That's very trendy.
Yeah, it's a good spot, I have to say. It's close to the city and just a small flat. It's like a dog box, really. I live at a postage stamp. I tell people I pay through the nose for it. But I've got a view of the Harbour Bridge and the water and whatever, so that's fine. You deal with the expense. But you're right. So many people now, because you look at the migration numbers and people keep coming in, and they shoehorn them all into Sydney and Melbourne, to some degree Adelaide, but the vast majority of the migration ends up in Sydney and Melbourne. And they just keep expanding the city. At what point do we say we've actually made our capital cities too big, or the people who want to live in them, we cannot sustain it anymore? It's stupid.
Why are they doing that? Why don't they... surely 2 and 2 make 4, and somebody is in charge of keeping count.
We don't want them over here.
Yeah, we'll have them in.
Tax, Jeremy,
Keep them
tax.
over there.
We live in a place that's got a constant growth economy.
Well, our birth rate has dropped. It's the
that's
lowest in history, I think.
Well, we know that girls are not very cooperative. Did I say that?
You didn't say that.
No.
But it's the
Are
lowest.
you there, John? Right,
Just
okay.
calling him now.
Hit the stop button.
But it's low everywhere. I mean, I think the only two places in the world that still have a positive birth rate are Israel, which, obvious reasons, it's populate or perish, and sub-Saharan Africa, which again, much the same, because they have poverty and famine and whatever. You've got to have more kids in order to sustain the population. The rest of the world, the Western world, where we've been too busy making money, no kids.
Yeah. Hello, John.
Hello, Jeremy.
How are you? I know you're on a tight time limit there, but I wanted to get you on.
I've got four quick topics.
Go for it.
Okay.
Caleb Bond is here.
Who's there?
Caleb Bond.
Taylor Swan.
No,
Okay.
Caleb Bond.
Taylor Swan will do it.
Taylor Swan.
No relation to Alan.
Okay. I think it's the four subjects I want to raise.
Okay.
The first one, Mr. Malinauskas wanting to allow a convicted rapist into our state to play basketball.
No, he doesn't.
Not
He's
on.
working against it.
Yeah, no, that's just not on, as far as I'm concerned.
What makes you think he's supporting it?
Malinauskas is the one trying to stop it, our son.
Hey?
Malinauskas is the one trying to stop him.
Well, someone has wanted
Read the
to allow him
advertiser
in.
sometime.
I thought it was he that said it was okay if he came
No,
into the state.
no.
Well,
He's
I'll
trying to
stand
get the
corrected.
federal government to put a block on it.
All right, okay. Well, I stand corrected then. I thought he was into it.
Well, that's one you don't have to worry about,
Yeah,
John.
we'll tick that one off.
This is a direct quote from the Premier. We do not believe that any sex offender who's been convicted of a serious crime should be allowed into our country.
Correct.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
That's
here.
exactly
Here it is.
right.
Yeah.
Second one, here we go. The blowout on the green steel. $286 million wasted.
We were just talking about that.
Right, I'll tell you, this is a little calculation that I got worked out. How many homes do you reckon you could build if the home was $500,000? I'll tell you, 572 homes could have been built.
Yeah. Instead of, well, hell, what did we get? Nothing.
Nothing.
We're meant to have $1 million, aren't we?
Next point.
And then the next classic is the mayor of Onkaparinga.
Yep.
She wants to go to a climate change summit in Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, of course.
Nice holiday.
And all councils have to help provide money for it, which means the taxpayers of this state are having to fund her trip over there. And if she needs any incidentals, she doesn't have to report back to the council what she spent the money on.
I think that's the least we should give her.
That's the least we should. Onkaparinga has such a fantastic reputation and history and integrity and honesty. Let's go to Rio de Janeiro.
Because they're having the COP, whatever number they're up to now, conference over there,
31.
which they want to have here next year, right? But they worked out, because there's so many people come in for the conference,
40,000 or something.
They didn't have the road infrastructure to move them all from the airport. So they've cut down swathes of the Amazonian rainforest to build a highway to transport all the people from the airport.
Perfectly reasonable.
How good's that? You have a climate change conference where they cut down trees. Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant.
Fantastic.
I've got a perfect song here.
Here we go.
Okay. What is it? Very good.
Oh, yeah. Play it on the plane, up the front with a glass of champers.
Rio de Janeiro. John, is that your last point?
No, the last point was the thing with Whyalla with the they don't want to use gas to power for hydro. You know, they want to still use what they call green energy. Well, you know, you need the coal. You really need the coal up there to generate the heat to make steel. Make good
you must
quality
have thermal coal to make steel, I believe that. Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's it.
All right, dear boy.
Okay.
You look
Have
after
a good
yourself.
weekend.
makes me smile and it makes me glad. It makes me laugh and it makes me sad. From the day I was born till the day I go, I wanna listen to the radio. It lifts me up and it turns me on, and it stays by my side till the nights go. From the day I was born till the day I go, I wanna listen to the radio. Oh, listen to the radio.
Les is on the line. Hi.
Good morning, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm
How's
fine.
everyone else?
Everyone is fine. Caleb Bond is here. Gary's here. Tony's here. Caroline's here.
I just want to clear up any misconceptions. I'm not in the BMW transversing the Nullarbor. Travelled on Tuesday by Virgin. Welcome to our own country.
Oh, yes, I love that.
Thankfully,
I told them
no
off last time.
gum leaf burning
Inside the plane?
ceremonies on the aircraft, and no dogs or cats either.
Lucky you. Because it is Virgin's doing that now, aren't they?
Yeah, but I just didn't want to take a snapshot listening to the issues of the EV, and it's interesting that the gentleman didn't speak about solar panels or wind farms or all the other issues. And, you know, talking about motor cars, there's over 20 million registered motor cars in Australia. So what the hell are we going to do with all those if we convert to EVs? Not to mention, you know, classic car collections of both you and Gary.
Careful, yeah.
Whippersnippers, lawnmowers, boats. The aviation industry has a...
But it doesn't matter, Les, what we do. We are insignificant in terms of the contribution we make. So we are nuts to turn our economy upside down to achieve nothing.
Diesel
Jeremy,
trains.
I could not agree with you more. The reality is people need to grab a grasp of reality, climb the hill of common sense, put their flag up on the pole and say, no, we're not going to tolerate this nonsense because, you know, fossil fuels rule. Our whole lifestyle, our whole energy grid is made up of it. And currently, fossil fuels are the majority player. And I've got nothing against renewables. And the reality is renewables can be a lovely and wonderful adjunct to our existing fossil fuel network. And that's what they are actually doing currently. They are supporting fossil fuels. So we're living in, I think, cloud cuckoo land if we think that we're going to turn the whole thing upside down. And, well, reality is countries around the world are changing their programs now, going back to what was originally the best practice and embracing nuclear. We should have done that 20 plus years ago.
You know, when you plug your EV into the wall, might be different in South Australia because you have a larger concentration of renewables. But in most of the country, you plug your EV in the wall and what do you get? Coal power.
That's right, absolutely.
But it's a joke. Les, if you take where we were, the cheapest electricity in the world here in South Australia, to with just this simple policy on renewables, we have gone to the most expensive electricity in the world and everything that goes along with that because it's reflected. The cost of power, the cost of energy is reflected in everything we do.
And look, Jeremy, the issue is economy and the issue is the cost of living. And why are some people turning towards EVs? Because we're being flooded with cheap Chinese product.
They're shiny and new.
Subsidised.
Well, they're also, Gary, the technology that goes into them is very shiny and new and very smart. And people like digital displays rather than analog displays.
You're absolutely correct. Novelty value.
Full of all that stuff. But the reality is, as John Bruni said, the repairers know their trade. They know also that the safety issues in these cars are not as good as Australian or
especially if they catch fire.
Fossil fuel cars. The ANPAC rating isn't as good. They don't get the 5 stars that most other cars do get. So there are safety issues, there's repair issues, and there's the as you mentioned earlier, Gary, the
You've been
resale
listening
values aren't there. People don't want to buy them, and if you've got an electric car with exhausted batteries, who in the hell wants them?
Well, that's right. What's the resale value?
Well,
on
we
these
had a
things?
gentleman this morning who waxed lyrical about that until he told us he only went to year 12 at school.
And holy hell, the idea of repurposing car EV batteries for home batteries is fraught with danger. I mean,
Of course it is.
the insurance issues, fire risk issues, there's a massive range of issues attached to it. I think, as I said earlier, as a supplement to our known and best practice energy producing ways we've done things, fossil fuel, God-given fossil fuel, put it there for us to use to repurpose into cheap. And that's how economies of the world have actually improved themselves and grown, because they've taken from burning wood to burning proper fossil fuels, collecting energy, harvesting it effectively, efficiently. People's lives have been improved. Professor Plimer has said this many, many times, that poorer economies improve their lot in life because they have cheap energy, i.e. China, India, Pakistan, all these countries are using our cheap fuel at our cost because now we're paying their improvement. And as Jeremy said, the Lima Declaration exported essentially our manufacturing from this country into other, particularly Asian countries. They're the ones who have benefited. We're the ones suffering. Aren't we eventually going to wake up?
Let's hope so.
Waking up.
There is no discipline. Now that you're not at the dining room table, they're really cutting.
Tony's out of control.
They're cutting up. I don't know what to do with them. Anyway, I got to move on. You look after yourself.
Oh, cheers. All the best. Enjoy.
When are you back?
Good morning, Liz.
When are you back?
We'll be back Saturday week.
Saturday week.
I'm just about to head down to the pier on our way down to Frio for a nice session down there.
It'll be 2 weeks of running amok then. That's sad.
Oh, look, it's wonderful.
You come back and drag them into line. Les Ellicott, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't care if the sun don't shine. I get my lovin' in the evening time when I'm with my baby. It's no fun with the sun around, but I get going when the sun goes down and I meet my baby. That's when we kiss and kiss and kiss, and then we kiss some more. Don't ask how many times we kiss at a time like this. Who keeps score? So I don't care if the sun don't shine. I'll get my lovin' in the evening time when I'm with my baby.
I'm just trying to find the email that Jamie Sandford Morgan sent me.
Good morning, Jamie.
I
did recall sending it to you.
Yes, you did send it to me.
Yes, so good morning to you and your listeners.
Yeah, and I thought I'd give you a call because it was a very, very instructive kind of rundown of all of the interesting car things that are coming up. There's the RAA Bay to Birdwood, which is this weekend. But what are the others that are coming up?
They're saying, I think the Yankalilla, there's a Yankalilla Motoring Classic, I think, on the 9th of November.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, the South Coast used to see a few events, but it's refreshing that they've now got some of these little rural events to help give the local community a bit of a boost. So I think the organisers of this resurrected the event out of one that I think the local Lions Club used to run down there a few years ago. So it's been going a couple of years, and it's a good eclectic range of British, American, British, French, cars from all over the globe. So people would like to see all cars from all years. It's a nice little run down there to see those guys, and then later in January it all gets a bit quiet as we recover from kilos of Christmas meals to then All British Day on the 22nd of February.
Now, the All British Day is getting closer and closer and closer. What's the cut-off time, cut-off date?
cut-off date. Yes, they said, well, the entries opened on our website on the 22nd of September, and they close on the 1st of December. So we got a bit of time, but everyone thinks, oh, goodness me, December, that's miles away. Well, it's the December is marching awfully close here. So
I know.
think it's only about 10 weeks to Christmas.
Yeah, they're advertising Christmas trees and all sorts of things. So we know it's here, right there on the doorstep.
Yes, and probably like some of your listeners, they might be less of a procrastinator than I am, but you think, yes, I'll do that when I get a minute. I'll do that in a minute.
Yeah.
And then you look at the day, you think, gee whiz, I should have done that last week. Yeah. So it's in our modern society, though, we've got technology to make life easier. There just seems to be just as many distractions that only compound the things of making life easier. Yeah.
Now, as the head of the All British Day, what are you going to be driving?
I'll be spoilt for choice. I'm not sure whether I'll go up in my Rover P4 or my MGTC, or I might take a Jaguar or a Vanden Plough 1100. So I'll see which one takes my fancy. Yeah.
So the Vanden Plough 1100, that was like the Morris 1100, but had the fancy radiator and the Rolls Royce.
Correct. It was actually started life out as Vanden Plough were a Belgian bodybuilder, and they moved to the UK in about 1923, I think. So all the exotic 3-litre Bentleys and 4.5-litre Bentleys pre-war had a Vanden Plough fabric body, and they were considered quite desirable. Then I think as the years went on, I think Vanden Plough were then acquired by the British Motor Corporation. So I think there was a bigger brother, a 4-litre Vanden Plough, which I think was actually centred around in Austin, but it had I think an industrial Rolls-Royce engine in it. So everyone likes to think it's got a Rolls-Royce engine in it, but they tend to lose the word industrial. It doesn't sound as polished and refined.
No. So, okay, that's the All British Day. There's the Fork Tree Yankalilla Classic Motor Show. That's on the 9th of November.
That's correct, yes.
The All British Day. What else have we got? There's British Fords. What do you got here?
Yeah, though Ford is a very much American company, Ford, I think, had about 4 factories in Great Britain. I think they had one in Ireland making tractors.
Yeah.
So it's not a name that you associate with England, but I think there was many alleged criminals of the 1960s that drove away in the getaway car of a Mark II Jaguar, but then the getaway van was a Ford Transit van. So,
yeah.
but then I think much later in Ford's history, I think the Harry Potter name but put through a bit of spotlight on the humble Ford Anglia.
Yep.
Ford GT40s were built in Slough, England.
Sorry, was that a
Ford GT40s?
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
paid for of them.
The GT40 was a very successful car at Le Mans, but then I think they had
5-litre V8s in them.
Probably had Cortinas and Capris and Escorts,
indeed,
Zephyrs and Consols. So there's the Ford motoring connection to Britain is quite strong. And in our research, we found that the humble Ford T was for a while even made in the UK. And the Ford T, I think it can rightfully take its place in history as probably the catalyst for motor car production. When dear Mr. Ford said you can have any colour, so long as it's black.
Did you know they made one white one?
They made one white one.
Yeah, there was one white Model T Ford made. It's in Alaska at the moment. I've driven in it. It was built specifically to hunt foxes on the ice.
God.
True story. I've been in it. It even had white tyres. So the foxes, those smart little foxes, didn't see it coming.
They might have heard it coming.
Yeah, they were a bit noisy.
Anyway, Jamie, how do people register as the official patron of the All British Day?
And thank you very much, Jeremy, for being our patron and using your media connections to announce to the world about All British Day. So,
he's still thinking about which car to pull out of his garage.
Which one is going to get me there and back? That's all.
Well, I think you should give
Corniche is
your
a good
Rolls-Royce
choice.
another run. Yeah.
Yes.
I realise it didn't proceed in 1 year, but I'm sure you've got all the bugs ironed out of it now. Yeah.
Okay, how do people register, Jamie?
Okay, like all these things, it's an online registration. So at www.allbritishday.com, that's our website, and there's a tab there called Register. So you just merely go through and then enter your credit card details, and in January we'll send you a gate pass, and you're good to go. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So it's
Jamie,
it's very easy.
just before you go, Jamie, is it worth mentioning the Motorsport Festival is on in Adelaide on the 30th of November?
Yes, and I think there's a Adelaide Festival of Motoring or Sport Motoring. I think it's actually on the 1st of March.
Indeed.
So, as I was saying to Jeremy the other day, I think we probably need to change our number plates from the festival state to the motoring state. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it would be a good thing to do. Jamie, all the best here. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, gentlemen, and good morning to you and your listeners.
Jamie Sandford Morgan, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to wake up in a city that doesn't sleep and find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. These little town blues are melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
Oh, Blue Eyes. Great song.
You know, Jeremy, All British Day is fantastic. I just can't wait for one day we'll have All Chinese Day.
Oh,
Can you imagine?
It's looming.
But this is the thing is all these cars are collectible and fun and whatever. But is there a car being produced today, apart from some sports cars, but a lot of cars being produced today? Can you see them being collectible?
They're all square boxes.
Yeah.
These four-wheel drive SUVs look terrible. They all look the same.
Yeah.
And they annoy the crap out of me when you're next to one. You can't see past them when you're turning left and they're trying to turn right.
It was a decent point that Arman Gore made earlier about these big American yank tanks now that are all over the road because they're enormous. And as far as I can tell, car parks keep getting smaller, but the cars keep getting bigger.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, there's truth in that. You across this information and misinformation thing that they're basically, and I think it's all about climate change, the fact that there are forces that say, well, the simplest way to handle this is just to shut people up. If somebody is saying something with which we disagree, let's just stop him from saying it.
I know. By the way, I think we're leaving Paul Rees a very long voicemail message there.
Oh, you there, Paul?
No, I think it went to voice. I think it went to voicemail.
We better call him back again.
But yes, it's a pernicious thing, and the e-safety commissioner in Australia is full bottle on this stuff. Of course, we were meant to have this misinformation, disinformation bill that the government very quickly turned its back on when it realised just how much people were opposed to it. But you have the e-safety commissioner, the net nanny, or the e-Karen, as I like to call her, firing off emails and notes and whatever all the time to companies like Meta, which owns Facebook, and Elon Musk's X, which used to be Twitter, etc., telling them what they cannot allow to be seen in Australia. And a lot of it's quite innocuous. Remember when there was a bishop got stabbed in Sydney, Bishop Bar Murray Emanuel, and the net nanny wrote off to X, Elon Musk, and said you cannot allow the video of that to be seen in Australia. Well, why not? I mean, it was a terror attack on Australian soil. It is genuine, valuable news footage. Yeah. Why would we not want people to see that?
Yeah, it's beyond belief. But if people can be shut up, it's censorship. You'd imagine that people would come screaming out demonstrating. I mean, if we go out and demonstrate for the Palestinians from the rivers to the sea, Palestine will be free. If we,
Well, and note that they're still demonstrating.
Isn't
by
that
the
funny
way,
about that?
After Mr. Trump has pulled off the greatest thing of all time. I mean, no one else. Well, we'll see whether the results, the proof of the pudding's in the eating, of course. But no one else could have done that but Trump.
Yeah.
But the federal government now, we're talking about your right to know.
Yeah.
The federal government has just launched the greatest assault on freedom of information that we have ever seen. The federal government will now make you pay to put in a freedom of information request. They will be able to deny your access to a freedom of information request if it takes them more than 24 hours to do it. And that's cumulatively. I mean, so if you've got 24 people in a room who put in 1 hour each, that's 1 hour's work in the day.
Yep.
But they'll say, no, that's too onerous. We can't do it. So what they're effectively saying is you do not have the right to know anything that goes on in the government anymore. And that stinks.
Yeah. And are they going to get away with that?
Of course they will. Of course they will. Well, when you've got such a commanding majority of 94 seats in the lower, you can do what you want.
Yes. Well, I don't see the difference between that and a dictatorship.
Well, yes, except, they're going to say it's not really benevolent dictatorship, is it?
Paul Rees is the head of museum marketing and major events at the History Trust of South Australia, which must look very impressive on a business card.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Anyway, he is the guy to talk to about the RAA Bay to Birdwood. But are you there, Paul?
I think we're still languishing in his voicemail service.
Strange. Well, let's try it again. We'll just try it one more time, and then we'll bypass it. I'm just doing that basically for no purpose other than to promote a fine South Australian event.
Are you in the Bay to Birdwood this weekend, Jeremy?
No, I don't have cars that I look out the window and I say, is it too hot? Is it too cold?
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
And do any of them go?
To reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Oh, hi, Paul. It's Jeremy Cordeaux from the dining room table. We had an opportunity to have a chat about the RAA Bay to Birdwood. I'm sure I've got the time right, but you're not there. So there's not much I can do, but thank you. I can tell you this, that there will be 1,550 historic vehicles taking part, which sounds impressive. 120 vehicles that are over 100 years old. I saw the other day that with Rolls-Royce, 75% of all Rolls-Royces ever made are still on the road.
It's the same with Porsche.
Fantastic.
911 Porsche is the same.
Yeah.
Very, very similar statistic, especially the 356 model.
Well, is it that they're very, very well made, or is it that
they're very, very well made and very, very well loved.
Yes,
yeah, both. People take care of them.
And resurrected, I must say.
How's the Fiat?
I don't have the Fiat anymore. The Fiat, I know the Fiat is long gone. I'm afraid to say,
dear.
but I'm getting around in an Audi A5 at the moment.
Oh, nice.
And that's not too bad, but it has had some mechanical issues. So you just pony up the money and move on. But no, I have been thinking about going back to a Fiat. Or no, EV. Tony, wash your mouth out with soap. Yes, exactly. No, but I've been thinking about going back to a Fiat or a little A-Bath, like you've got.
Yes,
yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's
they're
easy
fun
to
little
park.
cars,
A
those
cool
ones.
little car, that A-Bath
I know,
is.
and they make a good noise.
That's I was going to put the hard word on Jeremy for a drive of that today.
Oh, it's easy. Easy, smeezy.
Christopher's got one also, hasn't he?
For the A-Bath.
The oldest vehicle in the RAA Bay to Birdwood is a 1904 Dion
Bouton.
Yeah.
I used to own one.
I can't even picture what that's like.
What
does it
same
look
as
like?
Genevieve to look at.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Straight out of Wind in the Willows.
Chitty, bang,
Absolutely gorgeous thing.
Okay. Entrants from all over Australia. Victoria, we've got 103 vehicles. New South Wales, 40. Queensland, 20. Northern Territory, Tasmania, 5 each. At least 3 vehicles from every state and territory. 40% increase in interstate participation compared with last year. That's good. Over 60 vehicles entered in prestigious award categories. The Concours d'Elegance.
Oh, do that again, Jeremy. That was very good.
Preservation and EV conversion. They don't convert.
Sorry.
How does that
Sorry.
work?
Well, they pull
EV conversion.
They pull the internal combustion engine out and put in one of these crummy EV things and think that they're helping the universe.
EV
Completely
conversion...
vandalise and destroy a classic car.
EV conversion competitors...
What sort of people are doing that?
A 1974 BMW 2002 Coupe and a 1948 Singer 90 Utility are EV conversions.
Oh, dear. Well, the Singer engines are not that good. I've got one.
Okay.
They blow head gaskets every 100 yards.
Well, some of those EVs do go like the clappers. So you
they go.
You may
Absolutely.
gain some speed.
Yeah.
Well, it's like an MTT bus. They used to take off pretty quick, the electric ones. I used to go to school in one every day, and I couldn't believe how quick they were.
Well, at least it's better than Tindo. Remember when they got Tindo, the electric bus in the Adelaide CBD? I think the council, Adelaide City Council, bought it to do the city loop. And it spent more time on charge. This is 15 years ago or something. But it spent more time on charge at the bus depot than it did on the road.
Yeah. And there's a green bus.
Yeah, that's
running
the one.
around.
Tindo.
Yeah, I remember it. Electric cars have full power on the pedal.
Yeah.
From, as Mr. Malinauskas would say, on the get-go.
Okay.
Now, it is one redeeming quality, I have to say.
Don't you love the way politicians jump on every little word that's going past? I've noticed that some of them go on television and they're interviewing or being interviewed and they use the word unprecedented.
Oh.
That's the one at the moment.
Well,
and the next thing you know, the interviewer's using the word unprecedented.
Remember during COVID?
Cracks me
I
up.
hate to bring it up, but everything was unprecedented in those times.
Oh,
My
it was.
goodness.
Have we got Happy Birthday that we can play for Gary?
Oh.
No, hang on a sec.
Look at that.
The man on the street. He's going to join us, I think.
I can't get to the phone right now, so if you can leave a message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Okay, the man on the street can't come to the telephone. That's all right. Who's going to cut the cake?
You've got to sing happy birthday first.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Do we have to pay copyright?
We may do.
Hang on, I think I've got something here. Let's try this one.
Thank you very much, Lady Caroline.
Good grief.
What the hell's
Bell
that?
tolls.
It's not long, I'm 75.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to
Just the long version.
Happy birthday to you.
You can cut it short.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Very good. It's a good version of it.
Here we go.
Candles are blown out. And what sort of cake is that, Caroline?
It's a strawberry cheesecake.
A strawberry cheesecake.
Lovely.
And
Lovely.
you have to use the knife upside down and don't touch the bottom and scream to scare away all the bad spirits for the next year.
Who told you that?
There's only
We
one
have
more,
rules here.
One more thing now to go with it.
When you gonna let me get sober? Leave me alone. Let me go home. Let me go home and start over.
Let me go home and start over. Why not let it finish, Tony? Cake cutting. Cake cutting, ladies and gentlemen. And Caroline promised a glass of wine.
Yes, it's coming.
It's coming.
Thank you so much, everyone, for that birthday greeting. Thank you, Tony.
Happy birthday, Gary.
Caleb. Jeremy?
Yep.
Sir Jeremy?
Sir Jeremy, yes. Well, no!
We're going to take this away from Tony. We should not have given him this gadget.
It's like a kid. You give him a new toy.
This is a bloke who collects trains.
I know, and radios.
Or cannons.
There's a woman who collects cannons in the room too. In fact, I said
she's
to her,
she's looking for some balls.
Excuse me, Jeremy?
no, she's got them.
got
I said to her recently,
cannonballs.
she's the only woman I've ever met who's been canonised.
Where are these cannons, by the way?
It's at the front of the house.
Oh,
Don't
I
break
see.
in.
I see. This is the new security system.
Yes,
we should.
The neighbour was very impressed with it till she realised it was facing her house.
You need some of those for your joint in Melbourne, because that's where you really need the security system these days.
I know.
Blimey, Charlie.
She's got all this wadding coming from Timu.
I love Timu.
Have you seen? Speaking of Melbourne, the car thefts in Melbourne,
Carjackings, yeah.
Well, carjackings and just basic car theft is through the roof.
That's a plot by the government to sell more EV cars.
Wouldn't
that's
that be
right.
great?
They're taking all the old ones off the road.
But it's something like they're up 45% or something in Melbourne. And most of the country, car thefts and carjackings have gone down. But because the increase in Victoria has been so stark, it means insurance premiums across the entire country have gone up. I mean, it's like a failed state over there now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredible. Every night on the show, I think last week,
The violence is incredible.
we opened with a only in Victoria story, and they're just plentiful. When you look at the bail problems, the prisons are too full.
Yeah.
They don't know where to put them, and you've now got magistrates because they have the watch house, the cells under the magistrates' court in Melbourne, where they're meant to keep people to come into court the next day, but they have so damn many of them that they can't put them all in there. So the magistrates are sitting around waiting for people to come in for their court date, and they don't show up because the prison officers haven't brought them in because they can't fit them in there. So magistrates are now in Victoria telling people to apply for bail and they will grant it because then they can get to court under their own steam. How crazy is that?
They won't turn up.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
They have somehow twisted the whole thing around, and they're giving bail to people who should not be given bail on the basis that it is in the public interest that these people are put back on the street.
Yep.
There was a case just last night, I think it was, where a Chinese or Japanese sushi chef was stabbed in the chest, had her lung punctured by a woman, allegedly by a woman who was out on bail. I don't know what the previous crime was, but you can't tell me that they would give her bail yet again.
Of course they will.
Is that in the public interest?
No.
But the proof of the pudding is in the eating, as my old grandmother used to say. If the thing doesn't work, if it doesn't work, if renewables are not producing the cheap electricity that you tell everyone they are, you can't lie about it.
They do.
If the policy, the justice policy in Melbourne is failing everybody, you can't go on with it.
Jeremy, I have a theory, and I stand corrected because there's people in the room who are very clever, far more clever than me. It's about the fleet.
What do you mean the fleet?
Well, the fleet is a word referred to by politicians when they go on junkets and share champagne and talk about how their country is so wonderful that the fleet is now rapidly changing from these damn internal combustion engine things and to EV. So it becomes political, and I believe that's one of the main things behind the push of our politicians towards EVs.
Yeah, well, you stand there and you just tell the same lie over and over and over again, a little bit like Albanese did with
worked for the Pentecostals.
Did you see the chap the other day in Melbourne? His house was broken into at 3:30 in the morning.
The guy who ran out in his underpants.
Yes, and got hold of one of the kids. There's two of them.
Glad he had his underpants on.
I know. Well, he could have been starkers. That would have been even more fun.
He's put the pants up for auction. Charity auction.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Mark Knight rang in and said he'd do a cartoon.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it.
What size are they?
Has
I might throw my hat into the ring.
But my favourite part of that story, apart from him being in his underwear, was that when he got hold of one of these kids and sort of yanked him down from the fence, he made the kid call the cops. on his phone.
On his phone, yeah.
It wasn't that precious.
How good is
but
that?
the same guy, as the police took him away, said, "I'm coming back and
I
I'm going to
know.
kill all of you." And the police, if you threaten to kill somebody, he was out in 2 hours.
It's just that's how bad it is in Victoria.
Well,
The
it's self-made,
kids-
isn't it? It is
kids
a
just
self-
feel like, yep, no problem. I can just
All of my
do what I
family's in Victoria. I must ring them and check that they're all still
Well,
upright.
that's-
You know, not most. A lot of people in Victoria are fleeing into the countryside. Hopefully, not poor punker. Well, they always come back. The ones that go to Queensland always return. It's too hot and sticky.
But can you
full
you
of
blame
Queenslanders?
Them? Can you blame them for leaving? I mean,
No, not at all. No, not at all.
No, it's disgraceful.
Actually, Victoria is such a beautiful place.
I think the state itself is magnificent.
It is the geography, the buildings, the heritage of Bendigo and Ballarat, those kind of things. Just absolutely stunning. But apparently the city, I have been there for a while, it's a myriad of overpasses and underpasses and totally confusing.
Yep. I'm just looking at probably the most beautiful book I've ever seen. And I've seen a few beautiful books in my time. It's a book that comes in a case, and it's called Just What the Doctor Ordered. And the guy who is behind it, the author, is on the line. His name is Peter J. Nicholson. Peter, hi.
Jeremy, how are you?
I've got Gary here.
Gary.
And I've got Caleb Bond.
Good morning, Peter.
Morning.
And Caroline is serving cake. We wish you were here.
I wish I was there too.
I've said it to him so many times.
Yeah, well, you were here. In fact, just up the road, you had your business up there on Portrush Road, didn't you?
That's right. For many years, the print bin.
Yeah, the print bin.
You were actually all over Adelaide at the time. I think you're in City Cross, am I right? Glenelg, Hyde Park.
That's right, in the city, yep.
Is that where you made your millions?
Yeah, I loved it. That was a very creative and interesting time in Adelaide.
Well, you're a very creative and interesting man.
So why did you up stakes and move off to Tasmania, which is a beautiful state? I don't get me wrong.
I dare you to tell him the truth.
Well, first of all, I went to Melbourne, and that really was to pursue publishing, and that was a market-driven decision. Most of my customers were in Melbourne or Sydney.
Well, that makes sense to go where the business is.
And before the internet really became a major selling tool, and you had to go where the market was, and that meant Melbourne for me, and access to the National Gallery of Victoria, which is the best endowed collection of any gallery in Australia.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, this book of yours is just magnificent. It is as I say, it's the most beautiful production of a book I think I've ever seen. Is it still available? Did you have what sort of a print run did you have on this?
I printed, I think, 6,000 to begin with, and they all went away, so it's been reprinted.
Yeah. I'm looking, I just opened it at a random page here, and you've got the Australian sense of humour, which is an oil painting, the shearing the rams, the Tom Roberts classic pictorial cliche. Then on the other side, the opposite page, you've got the cartoon from The Age from 1983, the Ramming the Shears by Michael Leunig. Which is very funny.
Peter, your collaboration with Howard Steers is very much an enduring one.
Yeah, Howard and I got along famously when we first met, and we've had a wonderful relationship ever since. He still lives in Broken Hill and is the last of many artists that came from Broken Hill in a sort of pro-Hart tradition.
Was he he is a contemporary of Pro Hart. Were they actually buddies?
Yeah. He was probably inspired by Pro Hart.
Indeed, and that that relationship you had with Howard Steer was not only just, well, it's not really the production of this book, but am I right in saying that was the production of Giclée Prince?
Yeah. Howard,
Maybe you could
Howard and
explain
I,
that. Not everyone knows what Giclée Prints are.
No, tell us about it.
Giclée prints are a form of printing now, which has become the standard for fine art reproduction. It's the most accurate method of printing, and I print with 6 permanent pigment inks on a 54-inch press, and there's no better way of printing. Also, it means you can print 1 or 2 rather than be locked into offset printing, which means you've probably got to print about 1,000.
Okay, so you're based in Tasmania these days.
Yeah.
Policeman's Point, to be exact. Is that correct?
Police Point, yes.
Yeah.
In the far south of Tasmania on the Huon River.
And so is that in any way slowed down production, being that far away, shall we say?
Well, at 78, I've slowed down production.
Well, you've got a very competent daughter at the helm these days, is that right?
I'm very lucky, yes. Amber's sort of taken over the most of the running of the business, and that's worked out very well.
I always remember Amber was so clever at packaging.
Packaging what?
If you ever receive something from Peter Nicholson, you can guarantee it's beautifully packaged with stickers and all sorts of stuff.
I've come to the conclusion everything he touches is beautifully done. The difference between one car and another, when it's all boiled down, is attention to detail.
Indeed. Yeah.
The attention to detail in this book, Peter, is just absolutely superb. Absolutely.
Well, I worked out a long time ago that quality lasts, and there's a lot of things that are produced that are very average. And sadly, with the Australian idiom, it's sort of fading fast. So the colourful expressions that we used to have, people would say, "Who's going to win the cup?" And someone would say, "Oh, I don't know, mate, it's harder to pick than a broken nose."
Where did I wonder that Australian sense of humour or idiom, as you say, I wonder where it came from. It's pretty much unique.
It had a wonderful tradition with people like Banjo Patterson and C.J. Dennis. So that, Banjo Patterson was the second most successful author in the English language. Only sort of really surpassed by Rudyard Kipling. So around the turn of the century, we had a far greater sort of literary tradition for our own jargon and witticisms. Sadly, we've adopted far too many of the American sayings. I hope we don't go down the track where we start calling people motherfuckers and all the...
Well, I have to say, Peter, I've opened up to the first page of the book and I've already found a quote by which I live, which is from W.C. Fields, which is, "If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit." But it's right what you say about the language. I feel like language is just becoming boring these days. There's no creativity. You don't have the idioms. You don't have sayings. Everything's just been truncated.
Well, they closed down teachers' colleges, old son, and English, as we understand it and know it around this table, grammar and poetry and all that kind of thing is just not taught in schools, along with history, of course. Don't start me on that one.
Yep, and you don't have the larrikinism anymore,
Oh, yes, you do.
Well,
he's down in Tasmania.
In some quarters you do, but it is receding, I fear, unfortunately. Interesting point you raised, Gary, about the history. I remember, it must be nearly 10 years ago, I wrote a column for the Advertiser about the number of students, Year 12 students, who signed up for Australian history It was something in the entire state of South Australia. There was only like 12 students who in year 12 elected to do Australian history.
It can't be because it's too hard. It must be because they don't care. They're not interested.
Well, more to the point,
just not
they're
taught
not
with any verve
correct.
or creativity
They're
at
not led
high
to
school
it.
level.
They're not led to it. I mean, you
No.
kind of can't blame the kids because if
No.
it's not introduced to them,
No,
then
teachers'
how the hell are they
colleges.
going to come
They
up?
closed all the teachers' colleges. I'm on about it all the time.
It should be first in the curriculum. I mean, even when I went to school in the 60s, I learnt Greco-Roman history, British history, American history. The last thing on the plate was Australian history.
Yeah.
Peter, you have a very unique thing up your sleeve in that you are able to produce, or the only person that can reproduce the famous nude that reclines in one of the pubs in Melbourne.
Oh, Chloe.
Tell us all about Chloe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chloe, what a wonderful picture that is. I've sort of, when I moved from Adelaide to Melbourne, I enjoyed the run really of the National Gallery of Victoria long before property rights and things became hysterical, and published their huge collections of impressionist art of Monet and Manet and Pissarro and Sisley, and then sort of got around to the Australians of Roberts and McCubbin and Creighton. So I was very, very fortunate, and I took those to America, and they were popular there.
Peter, what size does a Chloe pop out of your Roland printer?
Well, you can have one life size, so it's about
Wow. Wow. Because the one in the hotel is life size, isn't it?
Indeed. Yeah, that's the original, of course.
Well, I mean, the next
So
question
that's
is
about,
how many pints have you had sitting in Young and Jackson looking at it?
Yeah.
Well, what would that be worth?
Oh, sort of that's an unfathomable thing, but you wouldn't. You would have to imagine somewhere of the order of 10 million without thinking.
Good God. That's a lot of money to have hanging on the wall.
Geez, for all the theft in Victoria, I can't believe someone hasn't gone and pinched it.
They've got no taste.
It
They
comes
couldn't
with
get it into the boot of their EV.
It comes with an interesting qualification, Chloe. You can't buy Young and Jackson's hotel without buying Chloe, and vice versa.
Good
Right.
God. Right, okay. So who owns Young and Jackson?
The Australian Hospitality and Leisure Group, who also own the Burvale Hotel.
Uh-huh.
That's an offshoot of Woolworths, isn't it?
I think it probably is.
I think it is.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Very
Venture capitalists?
It's a very interesting fact. I really didn't know that.
Well, we have to club together and buy Young and Jackson's, I think.
Yeah, good investment. I think, Peter, I seem to remember, I used to frequent your place up there, the print bin. Did you do the elephant for me?
I did. The charging elephant. Yes, I remember. Yes.
No, I've got that sort of everywhere I go. I've got a version of it because you very kindly gave me the print. But I don't know anyone here now that you're not here who can sort of take that. What do you call it? Software. It's not a. What do you call those things, Tony, that you stick in the thing? SUV?
USB stick.
USB, yeah.
Flash drive.
Yeah, flash drive.
Early in the morning to be talking about the thing you stick in the thing, Jeremy.
Well,
Just settle down, Jeremy.
Let me find a song about that.
It is a most wonderful picture, and I don't know how the guy took it because clearly the elephant is charging straight at the photographer. I mean, it might have been a long focus lens or something, but
You'd hope so.
I just like to think that this guy stood there and risked his life to get that photograph.
Well, it looks like it. There are bits of dirt flying everywhere.
Yes,
and,
you know the picture. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Peter, can we access all your storage facility of images? How do we do that?
You can. Well, they're available on the website, which is www.artroom,
Art Room, you said?
Art Room.
Art Room.
Art Room, yep.
Artroom.com.
So that's currently Watermark Publishing in disguise.
And there's also Facebook pages, and there's an interview that I had with Peter Gers on YouTube, which was a very funny interview.
Yes, I listened to it last night.
Yeah. So he was in very good form, and so was Howard.
So if somebody orders any of these Giclée prints or anything else that you're offering online, they can be assured that something will be posted to them that's the highest quality.
Absolutely, yes.
And I can
packaged.
And I can ring you up and get another elephant print, or how would you get it? You just roll it up, I guess, and just send it through the mail.
Just print it and put it in a tube and send it off, and you can have any amount of them or any size.
You know, because that's the funny thing. I don't know what you can blow something like that up to and still not have it too grainy to be. But then again, the grain might be a nice effect in any case.
Well, there are ways sort of around that. You can put a screen over it that gives it some texture and disguises the fact that it's lost focus. But it just depends really on the source material as to how big you can blow something up. But I've done a lot of work for hotels, so the Bombay Bicycle Club and the Kent Town Hotel.
Yep.
Tom Hanna, who's well known in Adelaide, he and I used to do visual stuff for all his hotels and the various iterations of the hotels, like the Earl of Leicester, and had a lot of fun. I miss Tom.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, because in the book you seem to capture a lot of eccentrics. Very interesting eccentrics. What has happened to the world of eccentrics? I don't run across them anymore. There used to be some really famous eccentrics who were given the run of the room or the run of the town because they were sort of like living treasures. We don't have many or any that I can think of. Eccentrics. No. I mean, Peter Gers is about the closest I can think of one at the moment who's still out and about.
Oh, there's Leon.
But Leon doesn't turn up.
Oh, that's right. That's eccentric.
Do you want my AI song?
It's a bit of an English tradition, really, and unfortunately, our rush into sort of political correctness and wokeness has meant that you can't say anything about anyone of colour or of different persuasion without running into trouble.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, the world is so sanitised now that how are you meant to be eccentric?
But do you have to really think through everything that you say before you say it, lest you offend somebody, or not even offend somebody, but somebody will take offence on behalf of somebody else?
Yeah.
Weird.
It's it's become a bit of a national pastime to take offence.
Peter, you're a great fan of Barry Humphries.
Yes. He was a wonderful eccentric.
Did you ever meet him, Jeremy?
Oh, many times. Many times.
Yeah, wonderful.
In fact, when I got the sack from Vibe AA, he rang me from London. And he said, "What a lot of bullshit."
Peter always referred to him as a comic genius.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, he could read the room. He knew exactly how far to go and then just a little bit further.
I recently rewatched The Adventures of Barry Mackenzie.
It's a great movie. I love that movie.
I know.
That's a fabulous movie.
Can you think of something like that being produced out of Australia anymore?
No, we had all the Ernie Sieglers have gone, Ian Fairweathers and so on, people who were actually quite funny and would take the P against other people.
Yep.
Well, we've got Peter Gers on, Caroline, when? 2 weeks away? Yep, because you've got a play coming out, hasn't it?
Harvey,
the Jimmy Stewart movie, Yep.
The
It's a puka, which is a rabbit.
A rabbit?
An invisible rabbit.
Indeed.
We have a son playing a part in that, so, Caroline has a vested interest in promoting it, which is good. Anyway, Peter, we miss you. But we'll be no doubt doing business with you. I've just got to work out how big I want my next elephant.
Not to mention your copy of Chloe.
So it's actually, you can't ignore it in the room.
No. I've thought about it often. It's a kind of intimidating thing, a charging elephant.
Indeed.
I don't know what it is about elephants, but there are certain animals that have almost a universal appeal.
Being big helps.
Yes, I guess. But the truth is, there's something magical about them. Elephants, they're absolutely wonderful. I go to a lot of auction places and second-hand stores and op shops and things, and elephants are there in abundance in various sizes and shapes and colours.
Elephant
in the room.
Bears,
well,
Jeremy.
I always
has this.
I come home with an elephant almost every day,
or a stuffed bear, taxidermed bears,
or a suit of armour.
Or a suit of armour.
There's a distinction between.
But Jeremy's not eccentric.
Sorry.
Say it again, Peter.
There's a distinction between elephants with raised trunks or lowered trunks.
Yes, and one is good luck, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Watch out.
Probably.
Get out of the way.
A bit like cats. Be careful when their tail goes to the ground. If it's upright, you're okay.
All right, I'll remember that. See, that's a lovely thing I enjoy most about this program. I learn something every single day.
That's how we like it.
Yes. Peter, thank you so much for your time. How much is the book, and how can people get a copy of it? With all the idioms. Just buy it for the idioms, let alone the art and the presentation.
There are 203 pages in the book, and it's a hardcover book in a presentation sleeve in a box.
Yes.
It is $90.
Yep. Well, it's worth every penny of that because, I've seen lots of books in my years, but I've not seen one as beautiful as this and as beautifully presented as this. So congratulations. It's a work of art in itself.
Thank you. Yeah, it is sort of, it seems expensive, but every page is full colour.
Oh, no, that's not expensive.
And that's
especially when you go to me.
Peter Nicholson, thank you so much for your time.
You're a gem, Peter. We love you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, all the best.
Bye.
Bye. I'll plug the phone number if you'd like to. Well, it's a bit late, isn't it? I don't think we're going to get to any phone calls. 0491 65 68 60. What have you got on for the rest of the day, Caleb?
Well, my girlfriend's flying in, so I'm off to have lunch with her.
Bless your heart.
Yes, she's got a conference this weekend, so,
Okay.
she'll do the boring stuff and I'll do the fun stuff.
Take her to the rising sun.
Is this kind of like a power relationship? Is it?
It's not as long as it's not a port power relationship. We'll be okay.
Well, what does she do?
She's a psychologist.
Oh, gee, we had one of them.
They say they're all mad.
Not this one.
Be very, very careful, Wabbit.
How did you meet?
Through work.
Through work?
Yeah. She does a bit of stuff at Sky. So,
Is that still allowed?
Well, I mean, in my case, I haven't been sacked, so I assume so.
Isn't that strange? I would say if you did
As long as you behave yourself.
Well, I would say if you did a survey, you would discover that most people...
They meet through work.
Exactly.
Their spouse, their love or whatever, through work.
Well, because it's a natural place to... I mean, you spend at least 8 hours a day there. I mean, why wouldn't you?
No, absolutely.
Invite more girls up here, Jeremy.
Invite more girls?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Give us older blokes a chance.
All right, we'll do that. We'll get onto it. Where are you going for lunch?
This is Chabot Show in the city.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Anyway, this will be Jeremy Cordeau's dating service. And we'll go back to your old days. This is where you started.
Yeah, blind date.
Blind date, wasn't it?
Well, they were interesting days.
Did you ever get any blind dates out of that?
No.
Oh, dear, what a shame.
No, not really. We weren't allowed to eat the profits.
They had vision, the ones that went blind. They weren't blind.
He was married.
No, it was quite strange. It was sort of the blind date. A perfect match, and I think it had a few other incarnations.
Perfect.
We should put the call
match.
out in case somebody does have any of that vision.
Yeah. Well, in
It
those
must be out there
days,
somewhere.
well, in those days, they
there's home enthusiasts that copy things
maybe.
like that.
I don't think.
Where
they
are you,
had-
folks?
It's going back so long. I don't think anybody had home recorders.
The good news is there's still a few episodes of Number 96 on YouTube.
You got some home?
So that was a similar era.
Well, the tape in those days, 2-inch Ampex tape, and the machines were huge things, the size of a bus. But the tape was so valuable, they literally would put something out, and then as soon as it had been broadcast and sent around to the network, it would be wiped and recorded over.
I mean, you wouldn't want to leave one of those tapes on the streets of Melbourne. It would be stolen in 5 minutes.
They wouldn't know what the hell it was. But, it's in America and other places where they had the show, and later incarnations in Australia, they would go the blind date. The date you'd get the celebrity and they'd put you in a plane, first class, and send you to Hawaii. But we had a different setup. Once a month, we collected, because it was 5 days a week, we collected the dates and the people who were committed to coming along and fulfilling their agreement to escort the winner of the blind date episode to the dinner. But it was
what a deal!
It was a all in dinner at Checkers. So you had this huge table and all of these people for a month. And I always thought that was a little bit on the cheap.
Yes.
A little bit on the cheap.
You sound like Barry Humphries when you said that. A little bit on the cheap. Maybe we should set up a pilot program and start one of those for the over 60s. That's a big market.
How dare you say anyone here is over 60?
I think Nine's just launching the Golden Bachelor, aren't they? Which is basically predicated on that. Yeah,
Well,
it's a fellow.
I don't watch any of that, Robbie. Programs.
Well, the Golden, what's his name?
The Golden Bachelor. Nine's doing a dating show for people 50 plus.
Nothing's
geriatrics in the jacuzzi.
I've heard of
There's got to be a jacuzzi shot in there somewhere.
You wouldn't know where to look, would you?
Well, I don't know. But romance is a very important theme in life, and
Indeed
I guess
it
it's
is.
a vehicle.
Read Gary's book.
Yeah, indeed.
It's
It's
a
this
vehicle.
masterpiece of a book around the place, if you can find one.
Some anniversaries, ladies and gentlemen. The Burma Railway was completed. God help those poor old POWs. Asian labourers and POWs used by the Japanese Army. 1943, the railway was completed. What was it? What did they call the thing? Hellfire Cut or something, where these people had to sort of dig.
Yeah, that chasm thing.
Yes, they had to dig it out of the rock with their bare hands almost.
Bedrock.
Shocking stuff. Okay, London, beer flood. What's this, Caroline? Bursting vat at Vaughan Company breweries floods city streets with over 300,000 gallons of porter ale, killing 8 people.
What, because they drank too much, or
from alcohol poisoning? 300,000 gallons.
Get your buckets, people.
1814 was the year. The Great Beer Flood. The musical Jailhouse Rock, starring Elvis Presley, premieres in Memphis, Tennessee. Where else? 1957. Charles II of Great Britain sells Dunkirk to France for 2.5 million. What's that? That's not pounds, is it?
Well, in brackets, it's a pound.
320,000
320
English pounds. Yeah. I don't know whether that was a good deal or not. What was Dunkirk? I mean, just a sandy beach, wasn't it? But I suppose something handy to own, as it turned out to be later in the years. Queen Elizabeth II is fined $140 for withdrawing her racehorse. Doesn't tell me from where or why. 1959 was the year. Why would you fine the Queen, I wonder? Big Bird and Oscar, the Grouch, puppeteer, leaves Sesame Street after 50 years, 2018. Rita Hayworth, American actress, cover girl, the lady from Shanghai, born New York City, married 4 times, including Orson Welles, and Prince Ali Khan, one of the famous Khans, died in 1987.
That's what he said. She said to Ali, "You can't."
Yeah. 1918
That's the problem
was the
with
year
the world.
she
It's
was
full of
born.
too many can'ts.
And this is an interesting one. The Travelling Wilburys. Have we got a Travelling Wilburys song? Yes, we do. Yeah, okay. The Travelling Wilburys released their debut album, Volume 1, featuring the single, Handled with Care. The band included, I think they've all, not quite all gone to God. Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, and Tom Petty.
And we'll play End of the Line.
And we'll play End of the Line? Okay. I love it, I love it, I love it. And our sponsors, let me just remind you of our sponsors before we say goodbye. The Rising Sun, which is 60 Bridge Street at Kensington. And as I've often said to you, I don't know the sway that Grant and Jackie have with the Burnside Council, but whether you approach Bridge Street from Kensington Road or from Norwood Parade, there is a sign on the lamppost at each end of Bridge Street saying, "This way to the Rising Sun." Now, can you imagine the pull they must have at City Hall to get that?
How many free meals do they?
No.
Gary's got a birthday wish.
Gary's got a birthday
I have
wish?
got a birthday wish. Thank you, Tony, for bringing that up. My mother turned 101 yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, sadly she died in 2017. But I'm sure she's still around watching over us today.
Well, yes, I think there is a lot of truth in that. Do you believe in the hereafter?
Good on you, Rhonda Evelyn.
Rhonda Evelyn, God bless you.
She was a spy during World War II.
I have no idea what happens afterwards. And I don't think I want to know, to be perfectly honest.
Do you have any sort of a preference or a thought or a wish?
About what should happen to me?
Yeah.
I've toyed with the idea, because, diamond is essentially just compacted carbon. And they manufacture diamonds now. And so you can manufacture them out of ashes. And I rather like the idea of my ashes being turned into a gemstone and then put in a ring.
Yes.
And then, my progeny can hand it down the line, and eventually one day there'll be a great-great-great-granddaughter or something, and some fella will say, "Oh, I like your ring," and she can say, "That's my great-great-great-grandfather."
Wow.
Getting back to your previous question about what happens after you die, you end up sitting around a dining room table doing an internet radio show.
You come full circle.
But with a worldwide audience. It's all right. Anyway, Grant and Jackie will look after you if you give them a call. That telephone number at the Rising Sun is 8333-0721. Regularly chosen as the best pub or inn in South Australia. And you don't get that. That's a fantastic accolade. Built back in 1845. Lovely atmosphere. Although I don't know that they'll be having too many open fires for a little while. I think we're getting into the warmer weather.
Climate change helps all that. You don't need the fires anymore.
No, that's true. Jim Elder Fine Art as well, Melbourne Street, North Adelaide, heading towards their last big auction of the year. So if you have a painting and you want to move quickly, you ring Helen or Jim on 8267-2869 and say, I got a painting that I'd like to sell to your worldwide market. And it is a worldwide market too, when those auctions are in full flight. 106 110 Melbourne Street, North Adelaide, two beautiful buildings, which at auction time are absolutely filled chock-a-block with notable paintings, which will get a really good price, certainly a market price. You will love it. We'll be back on Tuesday morning, Facebook posting, 9 o'clock, and Thursday next week, same thing. The Court of Public Opinion from the Garage, and all of the news and stuff and observations of the day. When do you head back to?
Sunday. Back to work Sunday. So
what have you got on Sunday? Have you got anything planned?
Well, I host the Sunday Showdown on Sunday night.
Sure.
So I have to go back and put in some work every now and again.
And I see you sitting in the centre of the table, keeping the troops under control.
Right, yes, keep them under control. That's my job.
Yeah. No, well done. You've done really well.
Thank you.
Jeremy's
really
very good at that.
Yes, I know.
No.
Well, he's sitting in the centre at the moment.
I'm in the centre, but I pale into insignificance beside Mr. Bond here.
In the centre and maybe a little to the right, which is where we like.
Well, I think that's where I'm most comfortable.
Yeah, you should position them according to their political alignment. That'd be a great way to do it, actually.
Yeah.
You could have a bun fight across the table.
Yes. Well, that's what you have to try and prevent too much. A little bit of fighting is good, get people fired up. But
conflict is entertaining.
Yes.
You need debate in your life.
Correct. Life would be boring otherwise, wouldn't it? Imagine if we, I know we all wish everyone agreed with
this. Imagine if we
this,
all believed in electric cars.
But imagine if we all agreed on everything. Life would be terribly boring.
But there should be the tolerance that says, I disagree with what you say, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it.
Yes. Indeed. Who was that said that?
Voltaire.
Voltaire, was it?
Voltaire, yeah.
Goodness me.
Caroline, thank you. Thank you for the cake. Otherwise,
so you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Well,
yes, we did.
Said that.
Oh, well, you did in this case.
You just have to have two cakes, which in some circles is frowned on.
There's no such thing as a free lunch unless you go with Jeremy to the Rising Sun.
No. Actually, I haven't been for a while.
We won't mention the other places. So, off.
Gary, thank you. Tony,
thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you. Caroline, thank you.
Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Now, you've got to sign
the book. I shall
our visitor's book.
Thank you very much.
Find a little spot there between the Prime Ministers and the...
Picture of Caleb signing. Let me get a picture of Caleb signing the
17th.
He's a very gifted man, this Caleb Bond.
Just don't talk like that, and my head will blow up.
No, it won't. You're going to stay in the business of the media, or are you thinking of politics, or...
God, no. Why would you want to do that?
Well, I don't know. I suppose it depends on where you think you can make the most difference, where you can do the most good.
I mean, it's more fun on the sidelines, I feel.
Well, that's right. You get to throw brickbats at people.
Exactly.
Take no responsibility for it.
Don't have to worry about the leader telling you're not welcome in the shadow cabinet anymore, any business like this. So, no, I think it's more fun on the sidelines. And it's just a fun business to be in, isn't it?
Well, it is. And one can
the little light comes on and
there's
away you go.
Energy and adrenaline. And
what about taking
electricity?
Over Ben Fordham's job? Yeah.
Well, it has to be available.
We can arrange. We can
once they're in the chair.
If we buy them a free electric car, we can then take over the
Wouldn't
car.
Have to buy one. They'll be giving them away shortly.
Well, I do see that Singo wants to buy back the
yes, I heard that.
the network. So
yeah, well, he's a bit like Kerry Packer in that when Bond bought the Nine network and paid far too much for it, and he bought it back for a fraction of that which he sold it for. And he made the comment that there's only one Alan Bond in everyone's life.
Well, maybe it could be done again with 5AA.
Well, I don't know.
I think they're.
I don't know.
They say 5AA always Adelaide. They come from Melbourne during the night.
Well, they shouldn't do that. It'd be easy. It's
not
very
always
easy,
Adelaide.
quite easy to have a local midnight to dawn.
Should be called
program.
5AA always annoying or something.
Oh, listen,
Just before we go, Jeremy, Mussolini actually drove in 1938 6C Alfa Romeo, the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen, and he got caught going across the border trying to escape with his mistress.
Oh.
And the bullet holes apparently are still in the car, and I
That
looked
could
it
make
up.
it more valuable.
Indeed. It's like Elvis's car. They've all got bullet holes in them. Actually, Johnny Mack owned one of Elvis's car with bullet holes in it. But that car, I looked up today, made its way. It's in the USA now. It still exists.
Okay.
Beautiful thing. Not Mussolini or his girlfriend, but...
No, but they are beautiful things.
They are...
The best gelati shop in the world.
The best gelati shop in
Indeed.
the world, in the little square where they
Indeed.
hung him or hanged him?
Hanged him. Anyway, he didn't walk away.
Does Susan Lee have a future?
Well, how long is the future is the question. I mean, look, she's not going to be the next Prime Minister, put it that way. But I think they would be silly, or if you were someone who had designs on the leadership, like an Andrew Hastie, you'd be silly to move too fast.
Who's the rising star of the Liberal Party?
Well, I think Hastie is good. I'll tell you who I think is a real rising star is James Patterson.
Oh, yes,
but he's in the Senate.
Yeah, and he's
so
also a little bit severe, you know.
But he's effective, you know.
Yes, he's intelligent and effective.
I think people will look past some of that. You know, there are some people who look at a Prime Minister and think, well, is he the kind of guy I'd have a beer with? But but I think people will look past that if they go, actually, he's a safe pair of hands. I mean, I know his Prime Ministership turned out a little unsatisfactory. But did anyone look at Gough Whitlam and think he's a guy I'd have a beer with? But he was a commanding presence. So
Yes,
if
he had charisma.
So if you've got some of that,
More importantly, if you saw...
Well,
Sorry, Caroline.
There's a big thing in the Australian magazine tomorrow about Whitlam.
Okay.
More importantly, if you saw Trump across the road, would you call him across for a beer?
he doesn't drink beer, but I'd call him over for a Diet Coke.
What if there was a semi-trailer approaching?
And a hamburger.
Semi-trailer approaching, that would be...
Anyway, dear boy, wonderful to see you.
Thank you, likewise.
Safe trip home.
Thank you.
Or safe trip back.
Yes.
And we'll see what the new year brings in terms of the media.
We shall. You know, the only constant is change. as they say.
Yeah, I know, but if they were selling shares in you, I'd be buying.
Oh, well, let's see. I might have to put myself on the stock market.
Well, you've got youth, you've got intelligence, you've got good looks, you've got, the local boy made good, and you've gone into the
Half
big
good.
smoke, and you've made a great impression.
And if you're really lucky, there might be an AI song coming your way.
Oh, there you go. You play that on rotation. I'll send you the bill for the rights.
All right. God bless you.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you for coming in.
Carla.
Pleasure.
Wonderful.
We're together, right or wrong. Where you go, I'll tag along. Remember me, I'm the one.